Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am your host, as always, Marco Mazzola, and today we have a special guest. Her name is Marie Brownhill from Trekker's Delight. Did I get that right?
You did. Hi, everybody.
Awesome. All right. And can you tell everybody where they can find you and what you're about and what you've been and what you're doing?
I'm a lawyer in recovery and working toward being a professional nerd. Like, that's my end goal about all of this. But you can find me and a whole bunch of other like Trek nerds on Trekker's Delight, everywhere you can find your podcasts. I write game reviews for Game Industry News and a weekly Star Trek blog for them as well.
Fantastic. Awesome. So we met through Jeff from the
MCU's
Bleeding Edge. What a guy. He's
that was
an interesting fella. What's that?
That was an adventure.
Yes, that was an adventure and a half. That was fantastic. Yeah, that was cool.
Mostly because you and I like started misbehaving really fast. Like everybody else was being super serious, and the two of us were like, A-team reference.
They were not reeling us back in either.
No.
And honestly, usually you try to take a temperature in the room, check the faces. I couldn't care less. Like, they're getting mad. I don't know.
And then the second time I'm on there, you are like posting, and that's
I'm just texting. Yeah.
And seriously, it like pops up, and I'm just like trying so hard not to laugh about the Swamp Thing joke that like and no one else is laughing. No one else finds this funny, and I'm like,
I know everybody left their humor at home that night. I guess I don't know
like, what's going on.
Yeah, that was funny.
I mean, they're all like, "We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through all the way."
But they were soldiering through. They were definitely soldiering through.
Yeah, and I'm just like, "Oof, it's Age of Ultron, man. Like, we got to do something to make this fun."
I know, that's the thing. That's hard enough to badger through. You got to lighten it up a little bit. That was
right.
Just Avengers.
I mean, God knows Joss Whedon didn't.
Oh God, I'm happy like all the crap that's coming out about him. You know what I mean? Like just kind of like taking it down a little bit, taking him down a few pegs.
Did you read the Vulture article that came out?
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah.
But I started at first thinking this was going to be like some sort of apologia piece. And then as I get through, like the author just lets Joss hang himself.
Yeah, that was perfect.
I mean, it was amazing because all the stuff that he starts saying, and it's just like, no, dog.
It's not.
No, like you're not gonna tell me that Gal Gadot was confused. Her English is fantastic.
It's just fine. It's just fine. She's doing okay. She's well more educated than him, that's for sure.
Right, and he's just like, and they're all after me, and it's just like, let's talk about this for a second, Joss. For just a second, I don't think there's a show that he was involved with that didn't have someone come out.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So if you get that many people, it's not them. It's you.
Right? I mean,
you know what I mean?
There comes a point where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can see this bonfire from space.
Yeah. I said that to a friend of mine about our college professor once. Like, 98% of the class failed. I'm like, it's the teacher. Mm-hmm. The teacher was doing a shit show. Like the teacher wasn't like, telling their assignments correctly. It was changing the assignment. No, that's not what I meant. And
it's just like, I'm not in your head, bro. Like, I can't tell you. Like, I cannot answer the question that is in your head. I can answer the one that's on the paper.
Yeah. If one or two
and for those of you that are currently in college, paper is a substance that is made from dead trees. And we used to write on it.
Write on it.
With pens.
Yep.
They kind of looked like this.
The big sticks, the pointy end on it. Where stuff came out.
Right.
Right on paper with those.
Right. I mean, it's one step away from being a slate, really. With the chalk.
Exactly right. That's right. Get the chisel. Get the bird and the chisel. That's right. All right.
This is hilarious. Like, we haven't even we are at the
talk about what we're going to talk about tonight.
And we haven't even gotten to Demolition Man.
No, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Hopefully, we'll get to Demolition Man. We're going to break it down, opinions, some rants. So, if you ever listen to my show, you'll know we do rant. So we go on a subject and we tangent like crazy. I probably should have called it entertainment tangents had I known, because we just tangent for like 20 minutes on something completely not even on whatever we're talking about. Like, hey, let's go back to episode 4 of Boba Fett. Let's talk about that now again. And we'll get back there eventually. So if you do start to tangent on something, you want to like kind of veer off something, don't worry about it. Don't feel like you're, taking us in a wrong direction. That's what it's about. It's just about, because we know conversations do that.
Mm-hmm.
A regular conversation will just start talking about one thing, and before you know it, you're talking about the snake, watching the snake eating the person video on YouTube. Like, how the hell did I get down here? So that's
a rabbit hole, my friend. That's a rabbit hole.
We do a lot of rabbit holes on the show. It's the best part.
So what you're saying is I should have busted out my bunny ears for this?
Yeah, pretty much. Some bunny ears would have been good, because we're going to go down those rabbit holes big time. But let's start by talking about Demolition Man. We'll start there. So 93 it came out. It was a year before I graduated high school. I'll put that out there. I don't say that to too many people. Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes starred. With
Sandra Bullock?
Yeah, Sandy B.
I mean, this movie had all of these tremendous people from the 90s. Like, I mean, Rob Schneider shows up, and it's early Rob Schneider, so Rob Schneider is actually playing a character that isn't Rob Schneider.
Yes, exactly. Who's just doing his own shtick about himself. Yeah, exactly.
Right? So he's still like, oh, I'm going to have a regular acting career. No, that did not happen.
Nope. We had a young Benjamin Bratt.
Yes.
Not as young Dennis Leary, but still younger Dennis Leary.
So, fun fact, I had forgotten entirely about the Dennis Leary situation, because my memories of this film are largely explosions.
Sure.
Largely explosions.
There's Demolition Man.
Seashells. Let me try to get that out of my mouth. It's not working.
You know how to use the
right, and then the swear, like the glorified swear bot.
Yes. You've won half credit for violation. Yeah, I love that one. And then we had Glenn Shaddix, who played Assistant Bob, and he was from where was he from before?
Everywhere.
What would be one of his most famous roles you think you would have seen him in?
So he is one of those actors that is like I could not have told you his name until you said it. Could not have told you his name. He has been in everything. Didn't he even have like a brief turn in Beetlejuice?
He was the Otho, the interior decorator. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
passed away young.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. He passed away a while ago. I for some reason, if you ever listen to my show, I have an obsession with that. He died. Well, I mean, he died in 2010.
You're like people who died. Let me listen.
I did. I have a weird thing about that, and I tend to kill people off on my show. And I'm like, hey, so rest in peace, that guy. And the other person would go, he's not dead. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, no, he's not dead yet. I'm like, he's still alive. Oh, well, shit. I killed off more people on this show. People who you thought for sure were dead, but are not. It's a reoccurring. So
what, you're like a walking Nelson Mandela effect?
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
good for you.
No, he's not dead. All right, fantastic. So yeah, we have a problem with that on the show. So if you catch me, don't be afraid to be like, no, he's not dead yet.
I'm gonna take it on faith. I gotta tell you, because I'm so terrible. I am so terrible at remembering people, because I'm kind of like you. I'm like, I haven't seen you in anything in about 10 years. You've got to be dead, and it's like, no. Exactly. No, he or she is just doing this other thing over here that you just don't watch because it's not a nerd property. And I'm like, oh, other people watch things too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
who knew? Who knew?
We have directed by Marco Brambilla. What else did he do?
He actually did a lot of like super off the beaten path kind of stuff. This is his first sort of outing. He did that one rom-com with Benicio del Toro and Alicia Silverstone, whose name is the title of which is escaping me.
Excess Baggage?
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah. And did he also do Batman Returns? Or was that the writer?
I think that was the writer.
Okay.
Yeah. He didn't.
Because the writer is also whose name is escaping me because I'm the worst. I'm killing it today, Marco.
It's all right. Yes, Daniel Waters.
Yeah, Daniel Waters just has a
Batman
tremendously
Returns.
storied career, and then it's just kind of like, what are all these people doing in this movie?
Yep. Yeah, he did Batman Returns, a very good career, and Hudson Hawk. So,
yes.
keep the good with the bad.
Yes. We should do that. We should do that.
That would be fun. That's been a while since I've seen that. That has been a while since I've seen Hudson Hawk.
I mean, it had been a hot minute for Demolition Man. I have to tell you.
Surprisingly enough, for me, no, it wasn't. I think I just saw it I think it was a pandemic movie. I'm like, I'm bored. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. Let me see what I got. Let's just break out the old iTunes.
I gotta tell you, first off, this movie was far, far better than I remember it being. Like, far, far better.
I think it still holds up, personally.
There is so much going on in this movie. Everything from Stallone satirizing himself and the whole 80s action genre well before that was a thing.
Yep.
You've got Sandra Bullock, who is stealing every scene she's in as Lenina Huxley.
Yep.
I mean, this is pre-Speed. Like, this is before anybody knows who she is.
Right.
So, I mean, she was just kind of there because Lori Petty turned down the role or left for creative differences. I mean, there was a drama there somehow. And then you've got in truly, truly epic fashion, you've got Wesley Snipes just chewing through scenery like he's a wood chipper in Fargo.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that man is having the time of his life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could tell. You could tell he was enjoying that. I mean, he was all over the place and just laughing through everything.
And did his own stunts, too.
Yeah, he's a very accomplished martial artist.
Yeah, and there's this great story, and it's not even apocryphal. Like, you can actually find it on YouTube, where Bruce Lee is giving this whole conversation and this interview, and the random white interviewer is just like, "Hey, can you show us a little bit of your mystic martial arts?" And so, the camera doesn't record anything, right? And nobody else is quite knows what to do, and it literally goes like, here's the board, and then in 2 seconds later it's like in pieces, and it looks like he hasn't even moved, and they're like, you didn't do anything there, and Bruce Lee's like, you think I did that with the power of my mind? Okay, you do you. You do you.
That's real.
And then they replay the video, and you can in super slow motion, and you can actually see like this textbook perfect punch come through. The same thing was happening to Wesley Snipes. He actually had to tone it down and slow down his movements because he was moving too fast for the cameras in 1992-93.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Lack of high def and all that sort of stuff. But yeah. Yeah, he's amazing. And I still think he can do it today. Like, I still
can we talk about that sidekick he's got? Like, man can kick like a mule.
Yeah. Oh, he does have a mule kick. His spinning back kick's incredible when he's doing the jump.
Yeah, for sure.
It's insane.
For sure.
Yeah, it's an insane spinning back kick, and jumping one to boot when he jumps up and knocks the cop right over. It's incredible.
And you're just like, I know mere mortals can do this.
Yeah.
But I am not one of them.
No, it's impressive. It's really impressive. I love watching him move. And I swear, I think he could come back as Blade. Even at his age, I still think he could come back as Blade.
Did you see the sequel to Coming to America when he shows up and starts dancing?
Yes.
I'm like, all right, still a hot mess, but a hot mess with moves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What did you think? We're tangenting. Oh, it's okay. What did
I think of that? I could not get through it.
No,
I really couldn't.
It was tough, right?
Yeah. Like, I think I literally stopped after Wesley Snipes appears. And then I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm out.
I liked the nostalgia of it, but the story of the movie itself was just kind of like, it's a little bit repeating the first one, and it was tough. Like, I liked the, oh, look, they got everybody back.
Which is
like,
fantastic.
Everybody who's still alive is back for this one. Okay, good. I like that.
I agree with
that was where it ended for me. Like, all right, that was cool. A little bit of, I watched this when I was a kid and probably too young. I went to the theaters with my mother to see this,
I feel that way about Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I feel that way about Ghostbusters because like I watched that movie, both of those movies on repeat as a kid to the point where I'm sure my mother was like, she would see Peter Venkman show up and be like, I'm going to stab something. And I was completely unaware of the subtext until like I'm watching it later in high school and college. And I call my mom and I'm like, yeah, the Keymaster gatekeeper thing just went whoosh over like baby Marie's head.
Right? Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely. I am so sorry, Mom. And she's like, nope. The fact that you had no idea what was going on it just means I was doing my job.
That's right. That's right. My mother, not so much. I mean, I watched Raw when it came out. Eddie Murphy's Raw when it came out in the theaters. I was a little young for Raw. It still horrifies my wife to no end. She's like,
yeah, okay. Rant number 2. No one remembers that Eddie Murphy's comedy was raunchy.
Oh yeah,
and
really
like,
bad,
dark. Because toward the end of his career, like he was literally Disney's stable guy for so long.
Sure, Dr. Doolittle's and Nutty Professor.
Dr. Doolittle, the Haunted Mansion, all of that stuff. Like, and he was literally they somehow converted this man from like Axel Foley to like. I mean, I hate to say Bob Saget since Bob Saget's now dead, and Bob Saget also had the same sort of thing going on because his comedy,
really wrong. Like shocked the shit out of me the first time I ever heard him, right? Because I knew him from obviously Full House and America's Funniest Videos. Like that's the only really exposure to him.
You watch his comic stand up and you're just like, I feel so really uncomfortable. I need to show you on the doll where this is touching me because you are breaking my childhood.
Yes. And Eddie Murphy made that point one time when he's like, I'm coming up on stage, like, don't expect to see buckwheat up here. Like, if you brought your kids and you see a buckwheat suit, you're in for a motherfucking surprise. At least he was honest about it.
Right. I mean, but it's crazy, right? I mean, it's just crazy because, like the evolution of these characters. I mean, Richard Pryor managed to stay raunchy for like the entirety of his career.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of crazy like the whole time and it was fine. But like somehow these other comics managed to scrub their whole situation. Like Full House was just kind of a trash fire anyway because of two words I have for you. David Coulier.
Yeah. Oh, David Coulier. He's still out there doing the same shtick though.
Is he like not dead or in prison?
No, he's still there. He's still there.
See, no, this is our first death.
Yeah, see, he's still around. He's still like, I don't know how much of like the circuit or anything he does, but he's still kind of out there. I saw him on the, one of the articles when Saget passed away, and of course, like everybody gave his condolences and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he's still kicking. He's still doing the cut it out. Oh yeah, he's not letting that one die. It should have died a long time ago, but he's still not letting that die.
But it's like new material, amigo.
Oh, big time material.
New material.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad then. It was cringeworthy then. Back in the 90s, it was bad then. It's worse now. So, all right. So, Demolition Man. I think that's what we're talking about.
Theoretically.
Rewind the tape here.
This movie ended up being so much better than I remembered it, right? Like, because, like, again, I just remembered the goofy parts. And I got to tell you, it hits differently in 2022 than it did in 1993.
It does. Like, the technology stuff hit different. Like, now that we know where it kind of goes.
But the self-driving car thing, we're one of the test zones for
video calling,
whatever. And you look over and you're like on the highway doing your thing and you look over and it's like a ghost driving car and I nearly swerved off the road.
Yep.
But, as a hypothetical situation.
Yeah. No, it's a little disconcerting if you look over and like the person in the car is like sleeping. You're like, oh my God.
Or there's not one.
Yeah, or that I think that could probably
that was worse. Like there was not one, and or there was either no one in the driver's seat, and there was somebody randomly in the passenger seat taking notes, and I'm just like,
I don't know. So what's worse then? Because I think my brain, this is just me now. If I see nobody in the driver's seat, I'm immediately gonna think it's a self-driving car, which is scary because it's a machine, and machines screw up all the time because they're made by people who screw up
all the time. Yeah,
right. But if it's a person like sleeping. is it a self-driving car, or was that person just driving and fell asleep at the wheel and is now going to kill everybody? You know what I mean? It's going to swerve any second. And that car, you know what I mean? Because you don't know. There's no guarantee that's a self-driving car because the person was on the driver's seat and at one point driving.
Yeah, that is one of those where I'm like, I'm gonna get around and away, like, because whatever's about to happen, I don't need to be there for it.
I don't want to be part of that statistic or news article at all.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
I don't want to be part of that. That'd be behind me.
I would like to have better reasons to be in the paper.
Exactly right. And it's really the same thing if I'm in an accident. If I bump somebody, like, that's back there. It's in the past. It's fine. Just keep going. I don't want to, I'm going to have to get out. They're going to get out. We're going to be talking about it. Police involved. They don't want to talk about it.
No, nobody wants to take that out.
It's in the past.
No.
So
when we're gonna bury that in the swamp and theoretically muse over it off the veranda.
That's right.
I say as a native Southerner. So
where are you from originally?
Georgia.
You are from Georgia. Okay. All right. Every once in a while the accent comes in.
Yeah, every once in a while the accent long enough it comes out.
Yeah, every once in a while it pops in. It's like I'm trying to place it. So I started watching Demolition Man again. Like I said, I watched it last year at some point. So obviously when we decided we were going to do this, I watched it again, and it's one of those, like, I have a hard time when movies have plot points that just don't work. Like, I have a massive problem with, like, lazy writing, and this movie kind of riddled with it.
Really angry for most of the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah, it was just a tough couple of decades. It was rough. But I mean, more so obviously as an adult. When I was a kid, you just suspend a lot of disbelief because you don't know any better, right? And then you get an adult and you're like, enough of your garbage. Like, I need a plot here. I need something that works. Like, write your way out of it better than that. When you look at, like, how he gets arrested, how Stallone gets arrested and sent to cryo prison. Like, really? You found the dead bodies. There were no thermals. You don't think the criminal, this mad murdering criminal, just killed them all beforehand and stuffed the bodies there and then blew up the building? Like, that didn't occur to anybody in the courts.
So to me, that read like he was being railroaded because like they needed a scapegoat for the sheer amount of destruction. Because, like, so let's talk about that opening. Okay.
Yeah, because I think you're right, but I don't know of any clue to anybody that said that. Like, who's kind of like, we don't like this guy. Like, let's just get rid of him.
I don't know if it ended up on the cutting floor or if it's just a really strong intimation, kind of dovetailing, or I think it's likelier in light of what happens with Cocteau, because the entire movie is very concerned about who holds power and why and how. And is a remarkably solid exploration of that topic. Again, so much better. But let's talk about this opening set piece. That set piece is amazing. Like, Stallone comes in, and also it's Stallone as John Spartan.
Yes.
John Spartan. Yeah. The names in this are fantastic. Like Simon Phoenix, John Spartan, Cocteau. Like,
somebody did their homework. If the writers are on point on this one.
It's just right. Enhance your calm, John Spartan is literally something that has come into my lexicon.
Yes.
I will look at my husband who is gearing up to rant, and I'll just be like, enhance your calm, John Spartan.
That's it. I've done that. I always do that. Enhance your calm or be well. I do that a lot.
Be well. Be well.
I say that at the school a lot because you working with kids all the time, and there's just a well of useless knowledge rattling around up here. Quotes and things like that. Just Tourette's out of my face at just random moments, and there's always parents in the back sitting there. So when I'm doing that, it's not to the kids. They're 4. They've never even known that this movie exists. But the parents are generally around my age.
If my 3.5-year-olds knew John Spartan, I would be concerned about myself as a parent.
Exactly. So when I say these quotes, and obviously they're clean. The ones I say are very clean, but it goes right over the kids' heads, right to the parents in the back of the room. And they're the ones giggling. So I'm doing it. I'm like, this is for the parents. Because they're sitting there for 45 minutes or an hour just bored out of their minds waiting for class to end. You got to make it fun for them. You got to make it fun for them, too.
So that's literally like the Pixar ethos. Right there.
Yep. Yep, got to make it fun for the adults. The kids are having a good time. They're laughing because I'm laughing and joking, but the jokes are for the parents because they know. I know they're catching the references and things like that. And every once in a while, I'll say that's for the parents. And I keep going.
But going back to the set piece, because I'm not going to get off of this yet, because it's
There you go.
so beautifully shot and it's so beautifully assembled, right? Like, because when we were on the Bleeding Edge, we talked a lot about this and how like different action sequence worked in Guardians of the Galaxy. Having just come off of that conversation and watching Demolition, I mean, just in nerd time,
right? Yeah.
And then watching this, I had I was paying much more attention to it and a much deeper appreciation for it. Like everything from the shot of the bungee jump to like how he moves between different elements of the set piece. Yep. And then like this was so huge. I think it might even, like I've seen some reviews that imply that this is the largest action set piece of his career in Demolition Man.
I wouldn't put it, but yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
It was so big that they had to borrow somebody else's explosion.
Yes, that I heard. That I've seen before.
That the building, like I mean, that is not a practical effect, guys. That is literally a detonation of a building that's going on because they needed something really large, and they apparently negotiated with this company to like do it at night, so that they could get like some shots for it because they just needed something to just take this set piece and this action sequence like over the top. Yeah,
which nowadays obviously could be done a lot easier. Can be done a lot,
Yeah, but part of me really loves it though.
Yep, I'm with you. Yeah, practical effects I still find, and I have a cousin who works for ILM, and I love his work, but practical effects for me are still, you know what I mean? You see the Star Wars. Yeah, you see the Star Wars with like costumes and stuff like that, even though some of them like the hands don't quite move, I still find them better than some of the CGI work.
I'm telling you, it's because the technology, like as the technology shifts, the practical effect will hold up. That's one of the things I'm kind of concerned about Moon Knight for. Although that I don't know if you've seen that trailer yet, but like because we did that last week on the Bleeding Edge, and like that costume is legit.
Yes, so it all wraps around him, and
and that
worked. I mean, that was one time, kind of at night. We'll see, but that moment, that shot worked.
I'm really hoping, because I have to admit I was a little concerned how they were going to make this work, because it's kind of Moon Knight's kind of complicated and also an odd property to pull out of the stable.
I mean, it had to at some point, right? And he's kind of, he's the Marvel's Batman, whatever, but they have to pull him out and they got to go to somewhere different. You know what I mean? Like I don't want like another buddy cop, like Hawkeye was kind of a buddy cop. Obviously Falcon Winter Soldier was definitely a buddy cop.
I really struggled to get through the Hawkeye series. Just really struggled.
So did I. It was slow going, and I'm having the similar effect with Boba Fett, but it was slow going.
We haven't even started because being parents of 3.5-year-old twins, like we get maybe an hour, and then I'm podcasting all the time, so we get even less time. So like we're working our way through The Witcher right now. Yes. And I mean, it's like one episode at a time.
I got through episode 1. I love it, but again, just like you, it's really tough to find the time.
It is. Absolutely. Witcher, super solid. Have been very pleased by it.
Yeah, I got to get back to it. I know I want to get back to it. I played the games. I liked the first episode. It's just, I get distracted by, now.
My husband is obsessed with The Witcher, and I know it sounds weird to say this as somebody who actually does game reviews and is moderately aware of the gaming industry. I didn't play any of them. Like somehow I managed to skip all of them, but I did read the books.
Oh, okay.
So
as it fares, I never read the books, but I played the games.
So season 1 is basically the last wish, and it's done almost story for story. Season 2, we're 4 or 5 episodes in, and like, y'all, this is supposed to be Blood of Elves, and we have taken like a left turn at Albuquerque, and I'm not sure where they're going. Just like
wait for a duck to travel. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, any minute now, Geralt's going to show up with an Acme hammer or something.
That's right. Just a little dynamite box. And
like, all you're gonna see is just like this little sign, and it just says
fuck. Awesome. How much would you have paid till that come out on a Looney Tunes episode? It would have been great.
I mean, I have faith. I have faith because apparently Henry Cavill is himself like a huge Witcher fan and is very much trying to ride herd on the production to make sure that it jives with his vision of what The Witcher is. And I'm sure sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. So, but I'm along for the ride. Yeah. For this, I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, at some point, you could definitely get that far into it, and you kind of go through it. You kind of like just like Boba Fett. Like I'm in it. I'm into it. We're 4 episodes in. There's only 3 left. I'll get through them. They got to make it better if they want a season 2 out of me. You want me to give a shit about season 2?
Yeah, I did that with. God, what was it? Was on ABC. It's a Marvel property, and it was awful.
Oh,
the Inhumans
of Shield. Oh, Inhumans. No,
the Inhumans.
Oh, Inhumans was interminable. That was. Thank
God. I got all the way through it because I knew Anson Mount. That's it.
Yeah,
it's the only reason. Because we both went to college in the same tiny school on top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere.
Cool. That's cool. So you did it. You did okay. Well,
and now he's in my fandom. Like I feel really weird. Like again, now we're going further into tangents. Like I feel really weird that this dude is now Captain Pike. Like I don't know how to feel about this, Marco. Like it's just like
you gotta feel good. You gotta feel good about that.
Do I know? Do I know? Like, and everybody's talking about like how silver foxish he looks, and I'm like, I need y'all to stop talking.
Well, that's just hurtful and unnecessary.
I'm like, I need y'all to stop talking. Like, no,
that's not cool. No. Wait! Not feeling really good about myself. Calm down.
I was like, I was okay, and then you said that.
Then you had to go there.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go there. Yeah. I was feeling good about myself until the kid told me to shut my fat mouth. Listen, you. Nobody on the podcast can know what we're talking about because we talked about that offline, but that's okay. That's
right. But Demolition. The Demolition. We haven't even gotten past that first.
We've got an opening scene yet,
and it's like 32 minutes. All right, guys,
yeah, we're 32 minutes in. But so I have that trouble with the scene is that there's no reason anybody's upset with him, and that he gets sandbagged for it. Like, obviously he killed everybody and threw them in the bus and threw them in scattered them about. Like he's a killer. Like he's
like, this is right. I mean, this is
this guy's a psychopath. Really, the cop who's been saving your asses time and time again, he's the blame. He just went in and and he had the other 2 cops in a helicopter. They checked the thermals. There was nobody other than Phoenix's guys. So what was he, wrapping them in tinfoil or something? Like, did you find the tinfoil wrapped around them? Like, how did your technology not work and find them? Because they were dead already. The movie over.
I'm not arguing, but I really think that the reason that exists, in addition to giving us an excuse to throw him in, like to get Stallone naked,
because he has to be the same age. Yeah, he has the same
and toss him in the cryo thing.
Yeah.
So that's how it works in terms of the story. But I think thematically it's working because one of the things that this film, as I said before, is really interested in is power and how the person who has the power interacts with the person who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that always comes across nearly as strongly as perhaps it should. And I think in that sense, maybe the angry Dennis Leary takes away from that a little.
Yeah.
Like
I think so, because it's another shift, right? It's another person to throw in to the power struggle.
Yes. And that goes nowhere. That goes nowhere because interestingly, Spartan doesn't care. Like Spartan doesn't care about Cocteau. Spartan doesn't care about Dennis Leary's character, whose name escapes me, because like again,
Edgar Friendly.
Sure.
Like, yeah, right. Exactly. There it is. Sure. Simon Phoenix, Edgar Friendly, like Raymond Cocteau.
Also, Lenina Huxley, right? Like that's a reference to Brave New World.
Yep.
Because Aldous Huxley wrote that. So there's all this stuff going on, but I mean, I don't remember Edgar Friendly because it's so obviously Dennis Leary.
Yeah, I mean he's good, right? Like I've liked him in other things, but
oh god, what did he do? Like, Rescue Me? Like he was amazing in that show.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, right? Like that's
exactly. And because I remember tuning into it and being like, okay, guys.
Yeah, he did really well. Like that was highly rated. Like that was a good show. Like that was perceived as yeah. So to see him in that, but then to see him in this, and this was kind of like one of his first outings as an actor. As a step from going from stand-up comedy to acting.
And it's very obvious that he treats that entire, like all of his monologues entirely as basically continuations of his comic monologues.
Yeah, because he's just doing that fast ripping, boom, 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 like the fast cadence of ripping on things. You know what I mean? He does it right in there. So it was kind of one of those things.
A lot, actually. Like you lose. I mean, I say this as someone who has especially coming from the South, mind you, I have an unusually fast cadence when I speak, and it's so much of what happens with Leary. Like you have to watch over and over and over again, or maybe I'm just old. I'll accept that. And to get all of it, it's solid. It's great writing, but it's also just like I'm gonna need him to breathe.
Yeah.
For just a second,
so I can take a breath. Yeah.
Right. But then again, and then you juxtapose that with Stallone's comic timing, which. So there's a phrase I never thought I would say.
Right, exactly right.
That was kind of right up there with, and the Oscar goes to Steven Seagal in terms of like possibilities. But okay.
For me, it's because I teach kids. The phrase I've had to utter more than once, I never thought I'd have to utter, is "Please stop licking your feet."
I haven't gotten to that yet. In my parenting journey.
I've had students. They're sitting around without their shoes and socks on the mats, and a couple of kids like just going heel to toe on the bottom of their foot. I'm like, please stop licking your feet on the mats. Again, a phrase I never thought I'd have to say. But anyway, I digest. Back to you.
But yeah, like, I mean, Stallone's comic timing is fantastic. Like he is the perfect straight man for a lot of these things. Right. Okay. So we've been apparently talking about these 3 freaking seashells for 30 years now.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, like, I'm really glad we never found out what they do with the 3 seashells because it's so much funnier in my head.
Yeah. It's way funnier to not know.
Yes.
You come up with all kinds of scenarios to how that works and what they're doing.
I mean, and it's funny because that's a really great strategy to use in horror. You don't see it as often in comedy, and it's used to great effect here. And it turns into like this kind of running gag, which is phenomenal. But like that moment where he's standing there by the glorified swear jar and he's swearing just enough to get himself some paper. Yeah. But the moment when he's like, who needs seashells? And just like flounces off. Yeah. That is not something I would have considered Stallone capable of before Demolition Man. And even to a certain extent after, like he's got some moments in the Expendables franchise, but like it's really never been quite as on it as it has been.
He had some bad outings, you know what I mean? He's had some misses, shall we say, when he tried to go like full on comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God bless Estelle Getty, had to put up with him for that entire movie. But
I don't know how she did it. I don't
either.
Because she's legitimately funny.
Yeah, she's a comedic genius. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how she had to deal with him that whole time. But you do what you got to do. Sometimes you got to keep the checks coming.
Yeah. I mean, there were definitely some moments where you could tell that somebody was just like sitting there and being like, "Okay, I'm getting paid for this."
Yep.
I'm specifically thinking of the guy that like Stallone like destroys. And it's the worst one-liner in the whole movie. You're going to regret that decision for the rest of your life. All 2 minutes of it.
Yes.
Like the expression on this guy who's clearly playing like thug number 3. Yeah.
That's his credit. My big credit, Ma.
Right. But he's just sitting there like, I can't even act for this. It's just that bad.
Yeah.
So there are some legitimately pretty terrible moments in this. Like, I mean, it is not a flawless film.
No, definitely not. No, absolutely not. But it's it does still hold up, though. You know, there's enough in there. There's enough meat on the bone to go for a rewatch even now.
Yeah, I
Even
mean,
now.
but also like let's talk about some of the crazy stuff that was going on. Like, I mean, the we're not touching each other,
Right.
like we're not like sharing spit or bodily fluids. There's this real sense of like no one having this real connection. And that hits differently in 2022.
Yeah, and this was set like so. Originally, it was what it's supposed to be like 95 or whatever when they, so it was a little bit ahead.
I thought the opening sequence was 1996, and then this was like something like 50 years later or so.
Yeah, it's 10 years ahead of us right now. Currently, it's about 2035. I think they said. I think that's. I want to say it's 2035 was where they head to.
The point is that it's just far enough ahead that Stallone's, listen to me, like John Spartan's very young daughter could conceivably still be alive.
Right.
Because that, like you talk about things that don't jive well. That's one of them. The world's fattest cat is apparently throwing herself at my door. And I'm a little concerned for the structural integrity because this is a really fat cat, y'all.
Big cat, huh? Feed the skinny one. Feed the skinny one.
It's going to be really funny when it is the skinny one. All right, Chungus, I'm going to need you to come on. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. All the people on the internet are now like wondering what's wrong with you. It is the fat one.
Glandular problem. There's a glandular problem. She's fine. She's all right.
Right. It's a thyroid issue. No, it's like every time we take her to the vet's like, well, she suffers a little bit from the roundness, and we're like, there's no suffering involved.
That's none.
She is in love with the round.
Yeah,
she's like round.
Yeah, she's fully leaned into it because that's all she can do is lean. It's all right.
No, Marco. Leaning requires effort.
Oh.
No. That is not happening here.
Oh no, the poor thing.
Although it's really funny. So like we have all these baby gates, right? Because again, 3.5-year-old toddlers. Yeah. So the fat one can jump the gates and will jump the gates because she is having none of it. The skinny one runs up to the gate, and I have seen this cat clear like the same height or more or taller. With no issue, but she's so stupid that she's just like she thinks this is a solid barrier that goes all the way to the top.
The small one's stymied by the gate.
She is.
On the outside
I just keep looking at her.
Watch me get over it. Like you could do this,
right? And she's looking at Maddie. Like she's looking at Maddie, the fat cat. Like that's just magical how she did that. I mean, and I just keep looking at Siri, going, "I'm so glad you're pretty." About all you got going for you.
Good thing you're pretty.
I mean, it's nuts. But yeah, no, like I was getting seriously worried about the structural integrity of that door. I mean, it's a door from the 80s. I'm not entirely certain that it's real wood anymore. So.
Right. That hollow stuff. Like in Big Trouble Little China. Hollow, fuck it. Got it.
Right. Oh my god. So where were we? Oh yeah, no, like the weird things that ended up being bizarrely on point. Everything from the sense of isolation that you get from Lenina Huxley during the world's most awkward sex scene.
Yep.
Yeah, that happened.
That did happen.
That happened.
That happened to all of us. We watched it.
Right, which is
weird. We can't.
Which of course is the point. That's the point. Yeah. But also, that could have been a lot shorter, and I would have been all right.
There's a lot of that, like boom, 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 imagery going back and forth. Like, why are we don't need it. We didn't need any of that.
No,
like, even if we just watched
like literally
with the headsets on and like kind
of
like
would have worked better. I think I really do. I think it would have worked better, which is them looking awkward and like Stallone as Spartan trying to figure out like what to do with his hands and just kind of like looking like just trying to figure out what that would have been funny.
I mean, they still could have got to where they got to, where she kind of like kicks him out. You know what I mean? Because he wants to do more than that. You know what I mean? We could have got there without all that sort of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, tunnel of horror. Basically, what they would, you know what I mean? Like, I was just waiting for the worm to come across. It was like really strange.
I'm just like, wait a minute. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. Why am I watching Scanners in the middle of my goofy comic book movie?
Exactly.
Where did this go?
Yeah, I went to Scanners too on that one too. Yeah, that was a little strange. Yeah, and
I'm like,
going,
when
I remember the scene, but then watching it again.
Your inspiration in your comedy, like maybe you need to back off.
Yeah, I think so. Like I watched it, I'm like,
do you know he's in Discovery, like Star Trek? Like he is now appearing as a character in Discovery, and it is a super creepy character, and everyone's like, he looks really frightening. I'm like, oh no, wait. Have I got something for you?
It gets worse.
Right.
Are you excited? So I know another tangent. Are you excited for Picard season 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am. I am super excited.
I was excited when I knew Q was coming back, and then to see the latest trailer, I lost.
I have not seen the latest trailer yet. I have not.
But do you know what's going on?
Yeah, I mean they're coming back into the present. So like, okay. I know that on Trucker's Delight, a number of shows are actually going to go through and work through the trailer. Because what's really big about this is in 2024 is when the Bell riots are supposed to have occurred from Deep Space Nine, which is kind of like an entire, economic upheaval. And so like they're literally sending Picard back to that. And I think that's going to be super exciting and super interesting. Which is also kind of another reason to like watching Demolition Man and trying to watch like how it was trying to realize that struggle in a way that made sense in the context of the world that it was creating.
Yep.
Is interesting to me. Yeah, there's so much going on in this movie, Marco. Like
it really is. There's so much. I mean, visually, what they're trying to say, obviously, because it's a futuristic piece, so you're trying to put the morality and where are we going?
But what's fantastic is it's not, the emphasis isn't on the tech, which is something that you get in a lot of forward-looking franchises.
Mm-hmm.
Like Minority Report, like all of that's on the tech. Like, I mean, you have these like huge CGI set pieces now. That's not what's going on in Demolition Man. It's focused on the culture. It's focused on people. It's focused on what society looks like. And it does this phenomenal
like iRobot. Like iRobot, I think, was the same thing. It wasn't really focused on the tech. It was focused on the morality.
Will Smith's journey with the dog.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was Legend. That was I Am Legend. I Am Robot.
Oh, that's right. iRobot was Asimov. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That one I thought was very similar.
Yeah, because I was kind of like, I had a minute, I was like,
that. But
I mean, it's
focused on the morality of what the 3 laws and everything like that. Dealing with what it deals with. Like I thought that was very similar myself.
Yeah, I mean, like Demolition Man hits like so many points. I mean, in addition, like again, first off, the separation nobody's touching each other. No one's really existing in similar frameworks. Like the stuff that they're consuming is bland and shapeless and is tiny. Like, do you remember when the Taco Bell waiter comes over?
And it's little tiny miniature.
You're just like, what?
Yeah, that was amazing. What? How's anybody alive? How's anybody alive to this?
That was just like, I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, like this is the gastro movement, like years before it happened.
So I had a question about it too. Like one of the things I try to I'm always reasoning through, like, how does that work? How is that working in the greater scheme, right? So the whole Cocteau, benevolent in the way the city is run, right? San Angeles is running. Is that just there, or is it filtered out to the rest of the world, to the United States? Like, is it, or is it just in that little pocket?
I really want to know, because like Demolition Man is just such just almost a capsule movie, because like you never leave San Angeles, and
right.
San Angeles is very obviously large enough to sustain it, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of like the Urban Dread movie, which takes place in a single building.
Mm-hmm.
Also talk about like a fantastic movie that doesn't get nearly the credit it deserves, because that is a movie that knew what it was, knew what it wanted to do, and did it.
And did it beautifully. I mean, like really, like it hits the points. It gets you to where you need to be. It puts you in that place, and you're just like, I watched that, and I kind of like, you have to pause. I think after watching that, like for a few minutes, like, and just kind of. There's not a lot of movies.
Oh god, like the death sequence for Mama, like Lena Headey is fantastic in that movie.
You got to soak it in, right? You got to soak it in, and I kind of like pause, and I'm like, okay, and process. Like, I don't know. There's not a lot of movies make me process. I know that sounds stupid, but like all right, I watched it.
I
I
mean,
watched Spider-Man.
again, though, like what I love about Dread is that it knows what it wants to be, and it literally kind of it just wants to be a bottle movie. Like you're just gonna like it's kind of like that Enter the Dragon thing, where like you go up through these different iterations of this apartment building, and it's not saying anything huge about like the world as a whole beyond what's being talked about in Dread as a franchise, as a concept.
Yeah.
And it does it beautifully. It's like, this is a cop movie. Like, this is what we're doing. It just so happens that we got this dude in a helmet that never takes it off. Pay attention, Stallone. Never takes it off.
He just, come on. That was horrific. Like, you have to take your helmet off every 2 seconds. That character does not take his helmet off.
Ever.
But,
I'm pretty sure Dread showers.
I've gone over that with people. I've gone over that with people, like, so many movies, right? The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, like, they build it into their contract. We have to see the actor's face. No, we don't. No, we don't. I don't need to see Tobey Maguire's face with a half ripped off Spider-Man mask. Right? Like,
no.
For God's sakes, LeVar Burton emoted through those stupid visors for how
many
7
years?
Plus movies until they finally.
No. Just like that first movie, they give him eyeballs and it's great.
Oh, it is the first movie. It's Generations. They give him the
Generations,
eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
It isn't. I don't know why I thought it was First Contact. No, you're right. In Generations, they give him the eyeballs.
No. They give him better eyeballs in First Contact, and they make kind of like a big deal about it. So you're remembering right.
But he did it with the visor on, and you still got it. Like, I don't need to see your face. I get it. Like, you don't even need to be there. It's a mask. Have a stunt guy do it and voiceover and go home. You're still getting paid. I don't care to see your face, but they have to.
It's funny. Let's talk about that for a second, because there are certain Spider-Man that I think that's true, and I think Tobey Maguire, for example, like it would have been fungible, like his Spider-Man, like one way or the other. I don't feel that way about Tom Holland, because I think Tom Holland's movement is so specific to him that it's very obvious when it switches to a stunt. A stunt professional.
And I agree. Yeah, I think you're right. But he could still be there without taking the mask off.
Yeah, and he does, I think, largely. Yeah. I haven't seen the newest.
I think you're right. I think largely he keeps the mask on more than anybody else. More than Garfield, and definitely more than what's it? Than the other one did. Wow, my name just blanking.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, and I just said it like a minute and a half ago. Holy shit!
This is what happens when we get old, Marco.
It happens. Oh good lord! I say it all the time, like my Swiss cheese brain.
Ooh.
Which is a quantum leap reference,
but also like Garfield had a pretty solid run, and I wish he'd gotten more credit for that.
I mean, they're still talking about possibly doing another one, right? Or maybe he will be, and I wouldn't mind this if he was the Spider-Man from the Sony universe with Morbius and Venom and all that kind of stuff, because it is a separate universe and they need a Spider-Man. So I would not have a struggle with it if it was Andrew Garfield. Yeah,
I think it'll be interesting. I think it definitely, like, watching where the Spider-Man franchise is going to go, especially since I think we have finally settled the rights issue.
Kind of. I mean, Sony's still owning it, right? But they're basically playing nice, and the contracts are kind of like pretty well solid that they're just going to keep splitting the profits to whatever numbers they split it.
Right. I mean,
because
you don't go up against the mouse.
Yeah. Absolutely, and because you just buy them 7 times, and you can call it a day.
they show up with like truckloads of money, and the first one they set on fire.
Just keep backing up. A cavalcade of Brinks trucks at their door. Like, just go away. This is what you need to go away. Let's give us the Spider-Man back, and let's just deal with this.
Right.
It just never made any sense. Like, I understand the ego behind it. I mean, the martial arts world, I understand ego, left, right, and center. But like, we own this. We're gonna deal with it. Let it do us our way. But then Marvel's like, yeah, but we're the ones who know how to do it. And if you let us do it, we're going to make you billions. You can keep making your millions, or we can make you billions. What would you prefer?
I wish somebody at DC would like take a class. Like Warner Brothers just needs to send somebody over there and needs to sit down and take a class. And
Warner Brothers sell it to Mickey. Just sell it to Disney. Just sell DC off to Disney. Let them handle both. I would love that. Can you imagine the world where Disney owns both?
That's
Second, like
terrifying.
another, like they basically clone Kevin Feige and let somebody like him deal with the DC end of it. And
I don't really know how to feel about this because it would be like literally all of like the comic book properties and then like also porn. Because Disney owns a substantial stake in various professional porn studios.
You wouldn't think. You wouldn't
So yeah, no, during the late 80s, early 90s, Disney was kind of struggling, and so Bob Eisner is just like, well, let me tell you where the money is.
Let me tell you where the billions are being held.
Right. He's like, people may not go see Mickey Mouse, but I'll tell you what they are gonna go see.
If they're gonna see Mickey Mouse does Debbie Dallas, they're gonna see that left, right,
Right, right. Like we can get like all of a sudden the mouse gets like an OnlyFans account.
That's right.
They're going to come after us, you know, right? For having this whole conversation.
That's all right. That's all right. What are they going to take? So, yeah, I don't know. I want Disney to have it both. I know that sounds stupid and horrific, and you know, like now they have the monopoly, they have everything, but Warner Brothers can't do any good with it. So let Mickey deal with it. Let the mouse deal with it. Let them handle it, and you know,
they're desperate. You know they're desperate because what we're doing is we're putting out another Batman movie.
Another Batman movie that has nothing to do with the universe they've already started to create because that universe is so horrific.
I mean, it's such a I really think that, especially with the success of the Snyder Cut, which I kind of go both ways on the Snyder Cut. I think it made significantly more sense than the hot mess that we got.
Yes.
I don't necessarily know that where Snyder was going makes sense.
Right.
Like the whole business where like apparently someone sets oh my god, Amy Acker, Lois on fire.
Yes.
And like chucks her charred corpse at Superman, and he goes through this whole thing where he becomes evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that in my life.
Like Snyder's vision way back from Man of Steel just hasn't worked for me. You know, I think Snyder's a good director, but not at this. I think he did amazing at 300 because that leans towards his style. I don't think the DC properties lean towards his style, and they never have. And he's trying to fit that square peg into the round hole.
I mean, I really think he's a better a guy for your Vertigo titles.
Exactly.
If we're going to pick an imprint. And I think he could conceivably have done some of the crazier Batman issues, but like I think he's sort of fundamentally misunderstood by Superman.
Mm-hmm. Who emo Superman, who wanders around throwing poles through trucks because he's mopey and he's wandering around. I mean,
literally, this man they just needed to add some eyeliner. I mean, not that you can take Henry Cavill and make him an emo boy. Like I just don't think that can happen because he's enormous.
But he tried.
Like I'm pretty sure that man is part draft horse.
Oh yeah, absolutely, without a question. He wasted Henry Cavill in 3 movies. Yeah. He wasted that Superman, and he wasted the Ben Affleck as Batman. As far as I'm concerned, he's personally one of my favorite Batman.
I gotta tell you, I mean,
Michael Keaton, Die Hard in the Woods. Like I'm Michael Keaton all the way, but
so I think
I could care less about.
So let's talk about this for a second because, like, which is apparently a thing I'm going to keep saying like throughout this podcast. So the same thing exists with Spider-Man. Like, you're either a really great Peter Parker or a good Spider-Man.
Yes.
Like, finding somebody who can do both is incredibly difficult. Tom Holland comes closest.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think he does it really, really well. He's the quippy, quirky, funny Spider-Man,
and he's a teenager
enough and geeky enough.
Like he's a kid, and he's the first one that in a very long time that kind of sells that, and that's I think one of the really important parts of Spider-Man's character, as both Spider-Man and Peter Parker, is that he's a kid. He's a kid who grew up in New York, and like is trying to work in his own neighborhood. Like, I mean, that's who he is. Like, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is kind of a thing, guys.
But I think Peter Parker is the innocent, not sure of himself, and Spider-Man was the alter ego, like way more confident and could quip and be and move fast and talk fast and handle his shit. And Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker. because he's nerdy enough and geeky enough and kind of like, innocent and, shy enough, but
I thought he was just I
wasn't
thought he was just
confident
like
enough as Spider-Man.
super awkward. Like just super awkward. And I'm not sure that I buy Peter Parker as being that awkward. But the point I'm trying to make is to go back to Batman is Batman's kind of the same way. Like you're either going to be a really good Bruce Wayne or you're going to be a really good Batman. Like Christian Bale was a really great Batman. Whatever else happened in those films, let's just leave that there. He was not a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Because in some of it, I think Bale struggled with it, and some of it, I think Christopher Nolan struggled with the concept of who Bruce Wayne would actually be.
Right.
Michael Keaton is wonderful because he comes pretty close to doing both, but he's still a better Bruce Wayne than he is Batman. Ben Affleck was the first one in a really, really long time that could sell Bruce Wayne and then had the mass to be Batman. And we don't ever get a real sense of his Batman because Snyder doesn't understand or didn't have the money or didn't have the writer. I don't know. But what those films deeply misunderstood is just how fucking smart Batman is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They missed the mark constantly. I've been a Batman person since I was, I could say.
They didn't miss the mark. They're not even in the same galaxy as the mark. All of the rest of us are over here, and then those movies are somewhere in like outer Mongolia.
Yeah, the writing. I mean, so you're still. So if you ever listen to the show, you'll know I hate the Nolan stuff. I hate it with a passion. It's so opposite of Batman, who he is as a character, as what it is. It's just a cringe. I love the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. To me, that was the only saving grace of the entire series. Was Heath Ledger's Joker, his version of the Joker, right? Because the Joker has so many different versions.
He was fantastic. Yeah. Like that is
one of every bit of the Oscar that he had he been dead or alive, he should have got the Oscar no matter what. Like
I'm sitting there as a huge fan of that particular. Like my two Jokers are Jack Nicholson for a lot of reasons. But also Heath Ledger, and then I'm sitting in this film, like this theater, like watching Joaquin Phoenix, and I'm just like, yeah. Did you guys read the same comic books I did? Because apparently you didn't.
I mean, it's like, it's again, so basically he's going to be playing almost like in the same world as the Batman, right? Like I think that's kind of like,
I'm not sure what they're doing here. Like, I'm really not.
It's so disjointed. There's so many disjointed respects of like, how are we going to, it's almost like they don't know. Warner Brothers clearly has no clue about the character, and they don't leave it enough up to DC, and they're kind of disjointed too with who kind of runs it to know exactly what these characters have been about. You have so many different iterations. And of course, Batman has gone through so many different,
I mean, the most recent major overhaul, of course, being the New 52. Which I guess isn't recent anymore.
No, yeah, the Rebirth was Rebirth was the newest. Was the new.
Oh,
and it kind of came back to
right, but like I mean, just like all of it, I mean, this whole concept where you have to just wipe your universe, like, and that you've done it multiple times, like maybe you need to do something. DC has struggled with this for a very, very long time. And I think it's fundamentally because they don't understand who their audience is anymore. They truly believe, or seem to believe, that their audience is a whole bunch of like nerdy white guys. That they're the ones who are buying comics. So clearly we need to produce content for those people. And yes, those people exist, and that's great. But what Marvel has done is Marvel is like, but there's everybody else too.
There's everybody else, and there's people coming up, right? They're you're playing to also a younger, not kids necessarily, but sometimes, but younger people. Because people like my age, like I barely ever look at a comic. I have a few of the new Batman 89 and Superman 78 comics. Like that's literally the last ones I've ever purchased. Okay, like
I'm not gonna lie. I may have just uncovered. I was doing some cleaning, and I may have just uncovered my Death of Superman set.
There you go. So like, so it's not me anymore. You're still playing to me, but it's not me. It's not my, thing. I'm busy doing other stuff. Like, you got to play to the young. You have to know who your audience, like you said, you know who your audience, and they've changed. The audience you're still playing to is not going to be around forever.
No, it's not. And I think that's been kind of like, just a phenomenon through fandom. We saw a little bit of it in Gamergate. There's this real tension between what geek fandom thinks it is versus what it actually is. And so like we've got a whole lot of people trying to moderate who gets a seat at that particular table. And the problem, and the thing about it is the answer is everybody gets a seat at that table. Mm-hmm. There is no such thing as a fake fan or a fake geek girl or someone who's not enough of a fan. Like, those are concepts we just need to chuck.
Yeah. You know who your fans are? The ones who have the money. Whoever that might be, there's the money to spend on your stuff.
Or that person
it doesn't matter what they look like, where they come from.
Or who has no idea, like, or at least take my primary fandom. Like, the person who just discovered the Abrams movies and has no idea Star Trek has this huge history. They're a fan. They're a fan of Star Trek. Aces.
Yeah. That's fine. Aces. It's fine. Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
that person is driving the creative force. Because you're right, they have money, and they're suddenly like, this is how revenue streams are protected, by letting other people come in. And the more people who are interested in some aspect of whatever it is that you love, the likelier it is that you're gonna get new content.
Yeah, you have to refresh, because the younger people are going to come in, and they're the ones going to be driving it. They're the ones going to be creating it. They're the ones going to be pushing it. Eventually, the older fans that you knew are going to be dead, or proverbially dead. You know what I mean? Like, we're just not doing that anymore. We've moved on. You can't keep playing to them. You have to change.
Right. I mean, and you've got to stop, and you basically have got to stop telling other people to get off your lawn, because it's not actually your lawn.
It's not your lawn anymore. It's their lawn now. It's their lawn now. We're just along for the ride. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with Nolan's Batman series. I'm not okay with, it's just not. I get it, but people love it, and I get why they love it. But it's one of those like series, like, at this point, I got
so mad at the end of The Dark Knight, because there was that whole literal prisoner's dilemma. I was just like, I know you think you're clever. Yeah. I know you do, but this hurts my soul, because also you managed to screw it up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I just can't. And I mean, between David S. Goyer and Christopher Nolan, who still very much have a hand in what's going on. Like, you check any of the credits, they're all over the credits for the for the Snyder stuff. They're still attached to it. So they're still having some, maybe it's minor, but it's some input. And it's shitty input. It's shitty.
Yeah,
shitty
and these
input.
are people, like, seriously, like, these are people that need to let go and need to.
Yeah, they don't know the properties. Away. They never knew the properties, let alone now or they never knew the properties. They never understood Batman. They never understood these characters. They think they did. They don't.
I mean, credit where it's due. When Ed Norton stepped back from the Hulk, that was the right answer.
Yep.
That was absolutely the right answer. And I give him major credit for recognizing it and being graceful about the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And this is one of those situations where, like, we need to have like a graceful shifting of the baton.
Snyder needs to step back from. I know he doesn't want to, and for some reason people don't want him to.
That's what's scary about the Snyder Cut. Is that it's literally a situation where and I get it. Again, I'm a Star Trek nerd. Like, fan movement got it. For the first time ever, got a third season of a canceled series, right? That's in my fandom's DNA, if you will. Mm-hmm. But what's frightening about the Snyder Cut, is I'm worried about how much innovation are we going to get when pandering to the fans is so important. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about this in what has definitely become a Warner Brothers DC podcast, not Demolition Man.
Yeah. Demo who? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Stallone. What?
Yeah. What? the fun topic.
Yeah, like DC struggles with innovation. DC has struggled with being able to change and with looking for other things and looking for better stories and better ways to tell those stories. So if we've got these fans who are like, we want this, we want this, we want this, we're gonna get cookie cutter property, and it's not gonna stand up.
No, and there's no cohesiveness, and that's what's troubling. I guess when you have Marvel and Disney doing what they're doing, it's very hard not to compare. You try not to, but it's hard not to hold them up against each other, and I don't want necessarily the DC stuff to be the Marvel stuff. That's not what I'm asking for. But I want the DC stuff to be actual DC stuff and have some kind of continuity to get with it. Because now throwing the Batman into the mix, it's like, I gotta learn their universe now. I gotta learn what this shit is about. I gotta learn what this is about. I have to relearn. Wait, this guy is the Riddler. Are you serious? That guy in that costume is the Riddler? Are you shitting me? What are you talking about? Like, how does that translate to the Riddler at all? Do you know this, 75 years of books on this motherfucker? Like, that is not him. He's never looked like that ever.
And it's also bad costume design. It's bad character design.
Oh,
that's the problem.
The Penguin looks like a thug with a pointy nose. It doesn't look like the Penguin. And they're going to give that idiot a series. They're literally giving it Penguin a series. Why?
I don't have enough bourbon in this cup, Marco, for
exactly.
this.
I just don't. Robert Pattinson, I'm sorry. Nice guy. Good actor. He's not Batman or Bruce Wayne. He's a mamsy-pamsy little puke of a Batman. Like, he's tiny. He looks ridiculous.
All right. Let's give it a second, though.
I'm happy he's going to start to glitter. If he glitters in this movie, I'm out.
I mean, fair play. 100% fair play. But I don't think anybody hates the Twilight movies as much as he does. So I really don't.
That's true.
I think
him. I loved him in Harry Potter. I do like him. It's nothing against the actor.
I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, because do you remember when the announcement was made that Heath Ledger, of all fucking people, was going to be the Joker, and all of us are like you're choosing the Chad heartthrob for this, and then he came out of it as the best part of that movie, hands down.
Okay, and you're right. But I was sold the moment I saw any trailers of him, what he did with little minute pieces that they just dribbled at us.
I will say this for Nolan.
They were very tight in the chest on it, but they kept it
I will say this for Nolan. Nolan had a much better command of doing a trailer, and there's an art to creating a trailer.
Oh yeah.
Credit where credit's due.
Yep.
When the Bleeding Edge airs the trailers, that's a good call, because it is an art form, and a lot of folks don't command that art form terribly well, and which is why you get the phenomenon.
It seems worse now.
Yeah. You get the phenomenon where all of the good sequences are in the trailer, and then you show up and you're like, what is this steaming pot of hot garbage?
I've seen all the good stuff because that was in the 3-minute trailer. That's not cool.
Yeah. I'm like,
did you catch you, right?
Did you have a sense of what the movie was? Because I don't think you did, because you lied to me about this movie. You lied. I'm sorry, we're going to have to break up because
that's
you
right.
lied.
But and we go into it with a Marvel movie knowing they lied to us, because we know they changed scenes. Yes. They do it on purpose to throw us off.
Yes.
Right? They throw us Hulk running to get Banner in the Hulk armor because they don't want to show us that. I get that. They do that kind of stuff on purpose. What really pissed me off was the Spider-Man trailer. That really was that was beyond stupid to have that scene at the Statue of Liberty, and Tom Holland's going at all of them, and only one is coming at him, and the other ones are going other places. And Lizard gets hit and knocks away from nothing. You digitally take him out, but yet you leave the Lizard getting hit. We're not stupid. That really pissed me off, because Sony wanted them in. Sony wanted them in the trailer. Marvel's like, no. We want to hide it. And that I thought was I got it. It was cool, but.
And we have been remarkably given Marvel a lot of credit on this podcast, and to be fair, they deserve it. But it's funny to me because nobody remembers the missteps, right? Because there have been a chunk of them.
Yeah,
there have been a chunk. The Dark World. Sorry,
Yeah.
there's something Thor shaped in my throat.
That was horrible. It was horrible.
God, it was terrible, and like they wasted Christopher Eccleston.
Yep.
And like there were some Iron Man moments.
I was not a fan of 3. I did not like 3 all that much.
No, because it's bad.
It's bad.
You didn't like 3 because it's bad.
I did not
Let's just say it. It was bad.
It was.
I think the only first like phase 1 like character that comes out swimmingly out of all of its movies is Cap.
Yeah.
Because Cap's origin story is great. I love Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
It is, and it's such a different film.
It was their empire. Like it was their empire.
It was. Yeah. And Robert Redford. Can we talk about that? Like Robert Redford?
Yeah. The people attached to that is insane.
I still don't know how they. I mean, I'm thrilled that they're getting all this really great talent, but like I'm also like how, but yeah. I mean, but yeah, The Dark World is pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was bad. They definitely have some missteps. I mean, you can't have that many movies and knock every single one out of them out of the park.
And I think that's. But I think it's important
directors
to remember that those exist.
Yeah.
Because we kind of we do rag a lot on DC, and rightly so.
But I guess it's a numbers game, right? At that point, it's a numbers game. Like Marvel has way more hits than misses, and DC's just got a shit ton of stream of misses.
It's exactly the opposite. With the exception of the original.
Woman was great. The first Wonder Woman was great. I even liked Aquaman. I even enjoyed the first Aquaman movie. You know what I mean? I will tell you, I'm a little mad because I like the Aquaman movie so much better having seen the Snyder Cut, because I'm like, oh, that makes so much more freaking sense. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I was completely behind Willem Dafoe with a trident. Yeah.
Like, that's never not going to be true.
Right.
Like, all a girl wants is pockets, power armor, and apparently Willem Dafoe with a trident. Or that might just be me.
That's all I need and nothing else. Well, I need my lamp, my Willem Dafoe pockets. I need my dog. Come here, shithead. I guess I don't need my dog. Just need my thermos, my lamp, my Willem Dafoe with a trident.
I'm gonna die.
I jump into the jerk so many times in the course of
the do, right? Like you do.
I really do.
Because I mean, that's another
and that's Shinola.
Such a great film.
See a doctor and get rid of it. Got it.
But yeah, but it made so much more sense. So much more sense.
Yeah.
After having seen the Snyder Cut, I went back and watched Aquaman, and I'm like, oh. Yeah. And I mean, as soon as they figure out who's replacing Amber Heard and like get forward, like I'm excited about Aquaman too.
Yeah.
So they're good ones. I do not understand what happened in 1984 though.
I don't know. That was rough. I mean, she knocked it out of the park with the first one, and she shat the bed with the second one. I don't understand.
It's bad. Like,
it was a real tough sit. You know, especially having the magnitude of the first one, you know, a relatively flawless film when it comes to other than the villain. That was annoying, but you know, at the end was a little, I was a little tough at the end watching him with the mask. He just pulled. I'm like, okay, this could have been done better. But other than that, the rest of the film.
And then also the answer to her issue was love.
Yeah, well.
I'm like, in a minute we're gonna get a Care Bear stare, but like,
exactly.
But yeah, no.
It just comes out of her belly.
Like 1984, no part of it went right. Like
it was a hot circle of garbage the whole time. Like, and I like Pedro Pascal, but his character.
What was he doing? Because I don't understand.
I mean, it felt like one of those situations.
How did he go from the Mandalorian to that?
It felt like back in the day, and they probably still do, like actors have like, you get signed up to a movie theater, like to a movie house or production house, and you have to do like a certain number of movies. Like you have to do 3 movies in your contract. That just felt like the second movie he has to do. Like he's not a contract to do another movie, so fuck him, stick him in that one. like there was no way he's like, this is good, I want to do this. Like he, you know, after Mandalorian, he could kind of pick, right? He kind of gets some cachet now and kind of like choose his project. He chose that, or he was under contract and just they had to stick him in something. And that's what he got.
But he drew the short straw. This movie misunderstood Max Lord so hard. It was just pain. It was agony to watch.
Yeah.
And I know, and Kristen Wiig got a lot of flack for her cheat up, and I don't think that was fair. I think the problem
was her.
No, I think the problem was that movie was trying to do too much. That they were asking that movie to, because one of the great things about Wonder Woman is it's so focused. It has a set story. It tells that story. We don't have to worry about side tangents or any of that nonsense. And also, Chris Pine was awful.
Yes.
As Steve Trevor.
Weird, because he's inhabiting another person.
But he looks like Steve Trevor.
Yeah, he's inhabiting the body of another dude who, like, by the end of it becomes that dude again, who she's no longer, like, trying to have sex with. Like, it was kind of like, that was a little weird thing to wrap your head around.
He didn't want to be there. I mean, I really fundamentally think
he wanted to really be there.
And so he phoned that in.
And it felt like, so the original, the 89 Batman, the Keaton Batman Returns, which I still liked, but it started to go a little different. And then by Batman and Robin, forget it, right? It felt like that. It was almost between Batman and Robin.
Right.
Too many villains, too many stories, too much shit happening at the same time. Forget about the neon and all that crap. But like in the bat nipples.
The problem was we shifted from Tim Burton to Joel Schumacher. And the shift was insane.
Yes, and that's why Keaton didn't want to do it anymore, because he saw what Schumacher was going to do with it, and he's like, "I'm out."
Schumacher put nipples on the Batsuit, like that's what.
But he didn't do that to the third one, right? That was
I'm pretty sure he started
on Batman Forever.
I'm pretty sure there are nipples.
Was the third one or fourth one? I know the fourth one had the credit card.
Oh God,
the back credit card. But really, forgot it. But like Keaton saw him going towards that lighter, campy, neon, that. He's like, I'm out. It's no longer Tim Burton dark. I'm out of here. And that's where he stopped.
Two of these and call me in the morning. Yeah.
Right. It was awful. But like,
that was not the movie for him. It was not the movie for him.
But even Batman Returns, which I still love that one. It's still not as strong as the first one. Mm-hmm. And basically what happened, in my eyes, is Jack Nicholson chewed the scenery. He crushed it. He was that movie. Everything he did. How do you have a sequel coming after Jack Nicholson? Just the Penguin could not have done it. Just Catwoman, you have to put both. You have to put two villains to try to equal the magnitude of Jack Nicholson's Joker. And then by the fourth one, you have to have like 4 fucking people in this thing just to equal the magnitude and try to live up.
And Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Jim Carrey as the Riddler was not the right call.
Too much of his crotch, but too much of that.
Oh my God! Too much of his crotch. Too much of Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey's problem is, and there's a reason. Jim Carrey's problem was that during that particular phase of his career, he was playing Jim Carrey, and it turns out that Jim Carrey is actually a pretty solid actor, and so like if he had decided to be the Riddler instead of Jim Carrey, it would have been a much better film.
Yeah. But so
Uma Thurman is a set piece in that movie.
Yes, unfortunately, yeah.
She literally exists to wear a green leotard and not a whole lot else.
Yeah.
So that's the problem there. And then
Tommy Lee Jones, his Two-Face was trying to be the Joker.
Yeah, he was not the right. He was not.
No, absolutely not. No. But okay, so is it?
I will say this: Aaron Eckhart in the Nolan ones got the concept.
He did. They just didn't do enough with him.
No, but when he was on screen as Two-Face, he was terrifying.
Yes, exactly. They just didn't do enough to round out that character before they offed him. Like it just wasn't enough. They could have done more. They absolutely could have done more with him, and he would have been wonderful.
It's like Aces. We're gonna kill him and Maggie Gyllenhaal. All right.
Yeah. So bad. And then, but like, the Tommy Lee Jones and the Jim Carrey and, the fourth one, forget it. The fourth one was a hot circle of garbage as well as a dumpster fire. But
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? You're talking about a movie, and I don't think that happened. Which one? It didn't happen.
Should not have happened.
What do you
know what? Marie, it happened. It happened to me. Okay? Never get over it. It happened at me and to me.
Let me show you on the doll.
Exactly where that touched me in the wrong way. the wrong place. And but the third one could have been better. But it again, I know it's Jim Carrey, but Tommy Lee Jones is a really solid actor. He might not be a Two-Face
in a very, very specific context.
Yeah, but do you think sometimes it's the directing? Like at some point you have to kind of be like, that's not where we're going with this, Tommy Lee. Stop jumping around like a goof. That's not Two-Face. But if you don't understand the character, well, Jack Nicholson jumped around like a goof.
I'm going to give myself cramps if I nod any harder.
Right.
So like just continue, just I'm still nodding. I'm just old and broken. So we're not going to do that.
Okay. So yeah, I hear you. It's just that way. Like you're just jumping around. Let him jump around. Don't let him jump around. Shit, you're the director.
No, just let him be terrifying. Let him remember.
Put your hand up his ass and move him like a puppet if you have to, but make him do better.
That's a very different movie, Marco.
It would have been better than what we got. And bought by Disney, apparently. Who knew?
Right. It's I mean, yeah, no, like it just. I think I really, honest to God, think it just kind of went off the deep end. I think it went off the deep end starting with Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think the things that I have loved Val Kilmer in were Real Genius.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The Saint, because I am one of the 5 people that loves that movie.
6, I love that movie. That's a rewatch for me. I'll watch that anytime. I think I have it on my iTunes or whatever, and I'll just crack that up. I love that movie. I don't know why. It's such a great movie, like beginning to end. It's just a fun movie. I was sad it was a one-off.
Films. It's sort of like Dread, right? It's one of those films that knows what it wants to do and does it.
Yeah.
We don't get sidetracked. We don't add messages that don't belong there.
Yeah.
We just do the thing with Simon Templar.
Those stupid side plots that don't need to be there. Do you know what I mean?
There's no filler.
Yeah.
It's just everything is just gonna make make sense. And also it's a very young Elizabeth Shue too, and she manages to play that very well.
And as a setting, it didn't do better than it did. It didn't get more recognition than it did. You know what I mean? It was I thought it was a tight movie. Like I said, I'll rewatch that.
Well, again, the same thing. Like I love Dread. I thought that was a really, really great film, and I was the only one. Yeah. Also on that list is John Carter of Mars.
I never saw that.
You should. You should. John Carter of Mars is another one of those films that it knows what it wants to do, and it's not going any weird places. I mean, it takes the source material and it's like, okay, we are going to embrace the crazy and go for it. And it's good. I just don't think to do with it.
Mm-hmm. That's part, and then there's the marketing, right? Like the movies will live and die by the marketing if they know how to, like you said, the trailers telling you what the movie's about. Like there's been plenty of movies where the first trailer comes out and the second trailer is a completely different movie. This is not the movie on the first trailer. What are you talking about? I'm gonna do it again.
This is like a bad date, guys. Like you said one thing in your profile, and now it's a totally different thing in person.
You are not 6'1". Let me just put this: you are not 6'1". What universe you're thinking 6'1" is? You are not 6'1", little man.
Exactly. But then you get these films that are just are just really tightly put together. Now, again, John Carter, not a flawless film by any stretch of the imagination, but it does so much cool stuff with the source material. I don't understand why people love Conan and then don't turn around and go watch John Carter. I don't get it. Because in fact, the 2 authors were buds. Back in the day. But yeah, just what they do with John Carter is just it's fun. It's fun. And if I give you nothing else in our friendship, Marco, it's go watch
All right, I'll watch it. I'm always looking for good recommendations, because if I don't have to watch the Big Bang Theory again, that's okay. That's all right. The 17th
So, okay, I have real feelings about the Big Bang Theory, and none of them are positive.
Why is that? Why does it get such a bad rep from people? Why is that?
Okay, so my problem with the Big Bang Theory is that we as the audience are supposed to be aligned with Katie Kuoko's character. We are not supposed, like, we are supposed to be laughing at these other individuals. We're laughing at them because they're different. We're laughing at them because they might be neurological, like they're not neurotypical. We're laughing at them. We're not laughing with them. And that's really, I don't like that, because there's, so first off, it's, you know, it's saying really unfortunate things about nerds. Like it's sort of fomenting stereotypes of people who like these, you know, like who exist in these fandoms. And it makes people feel good about having those stereotypes, which I don't like. But also, I mean, I don't want to laugh at Sheldon, because Sheldon is, you know, for better or for worse, doing his best to navigate life.
Yeah, myself, I never feel like I'm laughing at him. I feel like I'm more laughing with him myself. Like, I identify with a lot of his. Believe me, I'm not a genius by any stretch of the imagination, but the quirks.
I mean, I am no rocket scientist.
Right, but
I'm not rocket science.
Yeah, but the quirks that he has, like, I'm like, oh shit, I do that too. Like, you know.
And there's some of that, but I think that really happens despite the show's construction.
Yeah.
Because I gotta tell you, like, Katie Kuoko's character, whose name I can't remember,
Penny.
I mean, she is not somebody that I'm super keen on, like, stepping into her world.
Yeah. And she changes throughout the series, right? Like, there's a mass shift in her. It's a mass shift in her character after she marries Leonard. Like, I just watched the episode with Sheldon's birthday, and Adam West guest starred. Because he was, you know, Batman had never came to his birthday when he was younger. His sister, like, teased him that Batman was going to come to his birthday and didn't, because he has a twin sister. So they got Adam West to come to his birthday, which is hysterical, because they're all like, happy birthday, and like he's like, happy birthday, like Sherman. Like, it's not Sherman. It's like Adam West is here for some reason. And but like, so he like freaks out and goes into the bathroom, right? He's having a hard time with all these people in his apartment, just focused on him, saying, you know, he never likes to celebrate his birthday because he's a lot of traumatic experience. So he goes in the bathroom, and Penny steps up and like goes into the bathroom with him and just sits there with him, because like she turned into this person who was like, would never have, you know, would have been the bully to him as she was younger, and then by the end of it, like, he's like one of her best friends. You know what I mean? She's like, I can't imagine my life without you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird, like this transformation she goes through as a character from the beginning to the end of the series.
Don't get me wrong, like, I mean, as an arc, that's great, but I just really, really struggle with a lot of just the conceptions, like, and the assumptions underlying what's going on and how they're telling these stories. Yeah. Because I just don't think, you know, like, I just don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's welcoming.
There's a few episodes where they kind of hit on it, like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of see what they go through and how tragic it can be when people just, like, you know, do things like that to them. I don't know if you can do an entire series of it, but I don't know if they had enough of it either. Like, enough.
No, but I think there's a way. But I do think there's a way to kind of invite them in and to, like, let the audience see them more clearly and less as caricatures. I mean, Jim Parsons. By the end of it, Jim Parsons gets a lot of credit, I think, because Jim Parsons' performance basically forced the staff to step up.
Yeah, I mean, it became the Jim Parsons show. Like, it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of wasn't really supposed to be, you know, at the beginning. But then obviously, like a lot of shows, it just became so much about his character because he was crushing it every time. You know what I mean? Emmy after Emmy. So it just became his baby, and it ended with him. Like, he was the one who decided to walk away from it, so the show ended. They weren't.
Yep, and then we get Baby Sheldon.
Yeah, I don't really. I've watched a few episodes. I can't really get into it.
Paramount Plus gets very confused. Their algorithms are terrible because they're literally sending me, like, young Sheldon and football, and I'm going, I watch one thing.
And that's it.
One.
Neither one of those are anywhere close to what you're saying.
It's the same franchise. It starts with Star. Like, can you maybe stop? I'm trying to figure out, like, what I have clicked on.
No, Marie, you have to expand your horizons. You have to broaden your palette, and we're going to help you.
We're going to drag you kicking and screaming.
Screaming, that's right. Kicking and screaming. Speaking of kicking and screaming, so go back to Demolition Man.
Oh my god, what? What?
Demolition Man. Talk to me about the Raymond Cocteau of it all. Like his motivation.
My favorite thing about Cocteau is how he dies.
Yes. I'm tired of this motherfucker. Will you shoot him, please?
Yes.
And we get Jesse the Body Ventura.
Oh my god, you're right. I forgot. Yes. Yes. He shows up and is like, "Hi."
Was governor or mayor? Was he mayor?
No, he became governor of like what, Minnesota?
Yeah, that's what it's Minnesota. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. From wrestling to Predator to Demolition Man to governor.
Yeah, right.
I mean, pretty impressive career. But yeah,
it's just like, okay, all right, let's do this. Yeah, no, that's my favorite part of Cocteau. But the other thing I really like about how the show treats them is Cocteau and Edgar Friendly are images of each other, and it's almost down to the costume design. Because they put Leary in that kind of poncho thing that's cut to suggest the kimono that Raymond Cocteau is wearing. They're even in the same color family.
Yeah, I noticed that probably the last time I watched it. Yeah.
And that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot to say through costume design. Because they are two separate concepts. Like Leary's Edgar Friendly is all about anarchy, which is never going to work. And Cocteau's world is all about control and regulation and order, which is also never going to work. And I think that's actually why the film ends the way it does. In addition to the fantastic moment of take this job and shovel it.
But Sylvester Stallone's like, you get a little cleaner, you get a little dirtier. In the end,
but also, despite the fact that I have cleaned up your mess, I'm not here for it. You figure that out. And he and Lenina Huxley ride off into the proverbial sunset because they're not. I mean, he is not in the game of. He has no interest in helping them rebuild. None.
Yeah,
that's not his shtick.
No, he demolishes. He demolishes and taps out. That's it. I did my part. I blew the shit up. You put it back together.
Now I'm gonna go. But if we're going to talk about but if we're going to talk about power and we're going to talk about how that power works, I think it's really important that he does make that decision to leave, because with the death of Cocteau, oh God, who plays the chief of police? Because that's another guy who's been in everything.
Oh yeah, I have it up here. Hold on one second. Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. That is, did I go off the page? Of course I went off the page. I was on the page for an hour. There we go. The key.
And so then, we are on at a minute 40 or an hour 40, and we've maybe spent 15 minutes talking about Demolition.
If we're lucky. Bob Gunton played Chief George Earl.
So here,
still kicking it, still alive, born 1945, still kicking it.
Hey. But I think it's really interesting that this whole thing is created. This vacuum is created, and John Spartan could have been part of it. John Spartan could have created something, and he walks away from that because he's no longer interested in dealing with these power structures, which I think is kind of like the film throwing up its hands and saying this is bullshit and just kind of like going on.
Yep.
And I think that's a very tempting thing to do. Be like, kind of like a kill them all, let God sort them out kind of moment.
Yeah. I'm known for that.
Like I'm done dealing with this.
Yeah, I'm known for that I'm known for that in my family. Like we just would around family dinners and I'm gonna toss a little grenade, say something, and then sit back and watch it all kind of like, there they go, they're all yelling.
I can only imagine
I'm already gone.
I can only imagine what that looks like in an Italian family, I gotta say.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh yeah, typical Italian family. Like I've had many, girlfriends or whatnot, and an ex-wife, and they were not. Some of them were Italian, but not as entrenched off the boat Italian as my family. And the very common thing was like, why are they yelling at each other? Why are they so mad? I'm like, they're not. They're just talking.
That's
This is
how we
not mad.
communicate.
This is how we talk. We're just talking. Believe me. Until something gets flipped or somebody stands up and runs, yells out, swearing at each other, then they're mad. Right now, they're in the same room. They're still talking. They're not mad at all. They're just loud. They're loud. Nobody wants to hear the other person. They only want to hear themselves. So you have to talk louder than the other person. That's how they work.
And whereas, like, I am from a deeply Southern family, and it's a weird juxtaposition. Like, there's none of this yelling business. No, and certainly not in front of somebody else. Oh no, because I'm 40 years old, and my mother would snatch me ball-headed for that. Like, she will reach through the screen and yank my hair out. Not a joke. Because that would be bringing dishonor on the family name. Not that we have a family name, but whatever. But at the same time, we take our crazy, put lipstick on it, give it pearls, and sit it on the veranda, and we expect you to say hello on your way in.
That's right.
And that's a real thing. And when I got married and I started, because my husband's family is all from Pennsylvania in various locations. I was unprepared for this, Marco. I was unprepared. I was unprepared for the fact that, like, there are issues about that you walk on eggshells about, but not only can we not acknowledge that the eggshells exist or that the issue exists, the eggshells don't exist either. And I'm sitting here like, you are making my Southern Gothic family look not repressed. I mean, well done, you.
Yeah. My family would never tolerate that. Like, hey, that's there. We're talking about it. What? He's got one leg shorter than the other one. Nobody's talking about it. What do you want? He's got a wood thing strapped to his heel. He's limping. We're not going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. You know what's happening with the cousins? Sit down. We're going to talk about this. Guess on you. There's some shit happening over there. We need to discuss. Oh yeah.
Bring the bread and the Chianti. We got some things.
That's right.
We got some things.
We got some things to talk about. My mother I'll drive home from work and just sit in the car outside in my apartment and like just talking for hours. Amy's like, "Are you sure you're okay out there?" I'm like, "Yeah, just talking to my mother. We're talking about everything." Everything.
To be fair, I do the same thing. Like we will sit down and we will talk about everything. Now, the bless your heart thing is real. And the position of that phrase in the sentence makes all the difference in the world, as does intonation. Like if I start, well, bless her heart, blah, 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 that means like I'm expressing sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
But well, she wore white after Labor Day. Bless her heart. Totally different kettle of fish.
Totally different, yes.
Totally different kettle of fish.
My father has a phrase called "my friend." Listen, my friend. If he calls you his friend, fucking run. You're not his friend. You are not his friend. That is the kiss of death. My niece went to go get cars. She was going to get her first, car. My parents were going to help her buy it, and they were going to pay and help her pay for it. She was in college and she needed a car. So they're finding. So my father and my mother and my niece probably went to 7 different dealerships at least, because my father owned a repair shop and he knows about cars. He's known about cars his whole life. So he hates car dealerships, but he loves fucking with them because he knows how. He knows how much you're paying for the car. He knows how much he wants to pay for the car. He knows how much you can sell the car for. He knows how much it costs you to keep it on your lot for X amount of days. He knows everything about the cars, right? So you can't get one over on him. So it's fun to go car shopping with him, but it takes a while. So he'll go car shopping, and my mother.
So you're sitting there, you got the popcorn.
You get the popcorn, just watching this old man go to work on these people, just making them sweat, thinking they got you're just gonna make you sweat it out for $5. It doesn't matter. He will chew your ass out for $5 a month. He does not care. I want that bill coming down another $5 a month. I have all day. I'm retired. Do what you got to do.
Right. I don't have anything else to do other than to make.
But if you try to cheat him or you try to like swindle and I get this price, but then you get there, it's a different price. So my mother and my niece, they were sitting at the table. Then they went to the bathroom. My father was still talking to the dealer. And my mother and my niece come out of the bathroom and they hear from across the showroom, "Listen, my friend." My mother goes, "Just head for the door. We're done. Day's over. This we're not buying a car here today." He just said, "Listen, my friend.
We're done."
And, by the time they got to the door, it was, "You fucking crook. Go back to where you came from." It was just fun. Just shit. I hate you. You're a piece of shit. He was just
honest to God, like I really feel like if you ever like decide not to do the entertainment rants thing anymore, it's just like film that and put it on YouTube.
Oh, it would go over big. It would go over huge. Just sit at the car dealerships. It was when I bought my not my car that I have now, the car before that, it was the same thing. He was like every 2 seconds, "Come on, you got another $100 in your pocket. You got another $100. Come on, one more. Come on, not a month, just like over the whole bill. Like if the car was 19, he wanted it down to an 18.9. You got another 100. This poor bastard was like literally turning out his pockets. He's like, "I got nothing else." He's just like, "I have nothing else to do. I have nothing else to do but to sit here and chew you down for $100 at a time."
Wow,
like a bad Price is Right game. Yeah,
that's amazing.
It is fun, but when he says, "My friend," just walk away. Just walk away. You're not his friend anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And I kind of got that feeling with like how Stallone felt about the police chief in that sequence. I mean, it's not quite my friend, but it was getting there.
Oh, it was totally getting there.
It
was called him Neanderthal. He's like, "Listen, Neanderthal, I'm gonna put you back on ice."
I know. Oh, another really great moment in that movie is, "We're police officers. We're not trained to handle that kind of violence."
That's right. The murder, death, kills.
I mean, if you did a drinking game for Murder, Death, Kill, like you would be in the hospital.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was awesome. And he sees like the guy died. He just goes over. He's like, "Bleh," and he pukes off camera. That was great. That was fun to watch. Like, okay, we've gotten that far in the future, huh?
Right. Where we can't. I mean, but I mean, they can't handle like the visceral reactions. And then you contrast that with the sequence with the rat burger.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that is gorgeous. I gotta say, like, that was fantastic because it's just like, this is rat.
He's like, "Not bad." He's like, "Not bad." He just keeps eating and walks away.
And then Sandra Bullock is trying really hard not to throw up in her mouth.
He's like, "What? What's wrong?" He's like, "Do you see any cows around here?" That was great. Because you didn't think about that until she says it.
Right? You're just you're like going along.
Yeah. Oh,
and then you're like,
burgers.
Other favorite moment in that movie is when in that amazing action sequence when they're in the museum and they drop through into like that excavation, and we've all been in a museum that has one of those. Like we have all been there.
Yep.
Why was there still water in that pipe?
Thank you. Yeah, they really want to make it realistic.
I'm just sitting here like, this doesn't make sense. Yeah. This doesn't make sense. Like, this is a whole area that has been destroyed. Like, why? I mean, not only do we have water pressure, y'all.
Yes. So just flow out and drip.
Just like, okay. Yeah. But the Simon Phoenix death sequence, man. That is a work of art.
And that is a classic, 80s and 90s, you know what I mean? If I lose my head if it wasn't attached, like you're like, okay, that's coming back. That's coming back at the end.
And it did.
It sure did. Then is it hot in here? Is it cold in here? Good memory.
Oh my god! But also the red ice. I mean, we were going for it.
Yeah. And there's a couple of parts there, right? Like, so, and I always have that issue with like practicality of things that just, I know it's a movie and you have to suspend disbelief, but I have a hard time suspending disbelief on certain things. When, like, even in the beginning, the opening scene, when he drops the cigarette, the gasoline is everywhere, including under his feet. It's all over the place. And The gasoline goes up a lot faster than that. Like, it was just kind of like, no, gasoline ignites a lot faster than that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they both would have died before the building exploded.
I cannot watch any of these movies in my house because, I mean, I just can't, because my husband is an EOD tech, which means like he blows shit up for a living, or at least he did. And now he's a paramedic, but but we can't watch any of these things because he gets mad.
Yeah.
He's just like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Like The Rock.
Tech, and I know that.
Like we can't watch. I mean, we can't even watch The Rock because he's like, that's not how that particular agent works. And I'm like, it's a chemical agent or a biological agent. I don't remember what it was. I think it's chemical. It's a chemical agent, bro. This is not your wheelhouse. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. And he's like, do you have your Jane's Field manual handy? I'm like, no, sweetheart. I do not, in fact, put that in my purse when I go to a movie.
So let's take it to Batman, Christopher Nolan's Batman. That last part of Dark Knight Rises. The nuke dropped a mile off the coast, doesn't nuke the city, or at least...
Oh, no. Fun fact, that's fine. That's completely fine.
How is that possible?
So
it's underwater, but it doesn't create a tidal wave that takes out half the city?
Like, impact has nothing to do with whether or not it explodes. So,
but it exploded because it wasn't an impact bomb. It was on a timer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that part was nonsense, but like...
It exploded itself.
That part was nonsense. Although, like, I guess there are things you can do, but like, there are situations all across the board where weapons have been dropped. Like, do you remember the story about North Carolina?
No. So,
and you can Wikipedia this. You wiki this.
Wiki this.
So, the Air Force is flying over this random ass farm in the middle of nowhere. One of the bombs falls off the plane somehow.
Sure.
And like plummets to the earth as they are wont to do.
Yeah.
And lands in like this pond, basically. Did not high order, did not have any of those issues. Like, literally, they had to knock on this random dude's door and be like, so, could we go get our bomb?
You seen a bomb around here shaped bomb
about
shaped.
Like this? That's the thing that happens.
Does it have long ears like this? And a bunny tail like this? And does it hop around like this? Nope. Sorry, Doc. Haven't seen it.
Nope. No idea. Yeah. That's the second Warner Brothers movie. That's the second Warner Brothers cartoon reference today.
Yep.
Mind you. Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing. There's also a bomb currently like missing off the coast of Georgia and has been for like 60 years.
Nice.
Because they just dropped it. And
have you seen the bomb?
They just dropped it, and it's just a thing.
So the bomb dropping into the ocean wouldn't explode it, but it was on a timer, so it exploded itself. It was going to go off no matter what. It was supposed to just explode because it was on a timer counting down to explode itself. So it explodes underneath the water. Even if
dude, we have now exhausted my knowledge of how nukes work because like all I can tell you is
there's no tidal wave.
Like, I have been in the Nuclear Science Museum. Like, that's as far as it goes.
But wouldn't it create a tidal wave that would take out?
It should. Like, that should have been a tsunami. Should have been a tsunami.
Nothing. They're all like, oh, that's pretty.
Like, I mean, we just had one, right? Like, we just had one when one of like an underwater emplacement blew up, and we got another tsunami. No,
Gotham's fine. They're like, that was pretty. That was it was like 4th of July.
Yeah, but let's be real. The laws of nature don't apply to Gotham.
Apparently not. Neither does the
laws. They never have. They never have.
Time don't have any
because apparently, like if you watch the Tim Burton version, there's no sun ever.
Right. None. Just shady. Well, it's London. Shady. It's shady 24/7.
Right. I mean, like Jack the Ripper's gonna walk out, be like, it's a little dark for my taste.
But look at Dark Knight Rises. He's dropped into the pit of despair. I mean, the albino's there with the water machine. with his little dislocated back. Exactly. Where did you put my back, Gabe? Over the albino, I think. So he gets out of the pit of despair, and within a
Also,
minute or two,
like,
he's
and
back in Gotham.
He heals his broken back and like.
No, it wasn't broken. It was dislocated. He just needed a quick slap in the back adjustment, and he was fine. That's all. It was just dislocated. It didn't break. So it was kind of like the Nightfall Batman story arc where Bane actually breaks Batman's back and he's out for a long period of times. And Azrael comes in to be Batman and he's way too aggressive. So Bruce Wayne's like, I got to take my shit back. It was that nerfed into, a little part of a movie.
Because that actually really frustrated me. Like that whole sequence. Yeah. I mean, I was just like, the time frame
dislocated disc. Yeah, and he gets out of the pit because he realizes, I don't need the rope. If I get rid of the rope, it's not weighing me down. I can make the jump. Okay, I can buy into that. But how did he get back to Gotham so fast? No Alfred. He told him to fuck off. They took all of his money. He's got no connections. He shows up. I'm back, bitches. Let's do this. How'd you get back?
So apparently the pit of despair.
Now, mind you, but wait a minute. The pit of despair, the middle of nowhere.
Theoretically.
Apparently, that was kind of supposed to be. Who knows?
Because my read on that.
Anywhere.
My read on that is that it's in the suburbs.
Could be,
because that's the only way that time frame works.
I mean, I would, yeah, well, exactly, because to me, it's overseas somewhere. Like this is like,
I mean, I think it's not supposed to be like seriously. It's like supposed to be some random location in like the Middle East.
Exactly. But mind you,
because that's where Ra's al Ghul, like that whole group was. Yeah,
it does have satellite TV. We can watch Gotham's game on the TV.
I know.
Really? We're watching the Gotham. We're having to be watching the Gotham football. So that was my struggle with the Nolan stuff. It was so hyper realistic. Right? It was a competent movie, and then not. Especially by the third one, it really took a turn where Batman is fighting a nuclear bomb. That's Superman level. That's not Batman level threat. Right? He's fighting Bane, who's not really Bane. He's fighting Catwoman.
Sorry, where's Gene Hackman?
Exactly. I want Otisville or Otisburg, just a little something.
Yeah, right? No, I mean, and I think this is really one of the geniuses, actually, of the MCU, is that they recognize that you have to, like, that's why you have to shift characters, because eventually, like, you get a severity creep to the point where it becomes ludicrous. I mean, even when we're talking about a franchise that owns Superman, who is God.
Right. He's the Jesus character.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, even with that, like, every situation has to become so much, like, more and more serious. Yeah. So, but when you switch character phases, it's a reset.
But can we get a Superman movie without Lex Luthor or Zod? Is it possible?
Although Michael Shannon did the best he could with what he had.
Yeah, in his space penis prison. That was ridiculous.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. You're going to tell me that you have seen the Christopher Reeve like Superman movies and you're like complaining about that particular space penis?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I could buy the little floating
The Fortress of Solitude is apparently nothing but ice dicks.
Yes, but they weren't shaped like that. They were not. They were
like when the crystal. I mean, come on, man. The crystal just comes up like.
That's a whoop. That was definitely like, hey, morning. So but
sometimes a crystal is just a crystal, but that is the fortress of compensation, is what that was.
Yeah, there's one little man trolling around the whole fortress. Yeah, one dude. But I don't know. It was just rough. Michael, and it's like, if he wasn't bad enough, like, they brought him back for Batman v Superman. Like, really? We didn't get enough. And you get the
Martha. I'm still pissed.
Martha.
I'm still mad about Martha.
Because their names are Martha. Really? Instead of just going, hey, it's Lex. We both know he's a douche and he's causing this. Can we just go get him first? We'll have our slap fight later. Can we just go get the guy that's trying to kill people first?
Somebody is setting this Gotham on fire. Could we maybe address that problem before we have like our dick measuring contest? Exactly. The answer is apparently no.
It was just tough writing. It was tough writing back and forth. I couldn't deal with it. It was tough. And the Snyder cut for the last one, you're right. It wasn't going anywhere good. But then Joss Whedon had a hot.
And also, I did not like Jared Leto as the Joker. Like at no point did I care for his Joker.
I don't care for his version of the Joker. I don't really care for him, to be honest with you. But I don't really care for his version of the Joker. He's the gangster type, he's the what do you want to call him? He's almost like the pimp Joker.
He was just awful. And apparently he was just awful to all of his coworkers. And I'm just like,
he was being so method. He was just being a douche to stay into the character the whole time. Kind of like Jim Carrey did when he was doing Man Over the Moon. What was it? Man on the Moon? When he was doing his Andy Kaufman thing. Kind of the same thing. The same deal.
It's like that's not necessary. Like, calm down.
You're an actor. Settle down. Just go home and be Jared Leto. At the end of the day, go home and be Jim Carrey. You're okay. You can get back into it tomorrow.
When you were sending dead rodents to your coworkers, maybe you need to reevaluate your life choices.
Yeah, go work at a Cinnabon. Jesus, do something.
Calm the fuck down.
Exactly.
Calm down.
Have a smoke and a pancake. Jesus. But it was tough to watch. And then he comes out with a 4:3 aspect ratio. And at that point, I wanted to slap him.
I'm done.
Yeah, you need to be fired. How have you not got fired? Like, you brought everybody, like, championed for this for so long to get you back on board doing this. Like, it was the audience that got you your job back, essentially. We rehired you. Warner Brothers didn't want to do it. But they got so much pressure. They said, okay, screw it. Go do it, but we're going to put it on HBO Max. And you made it it looks better in IMAX.
That doesn't even make sense.
When nobody's going to the IMAX, and even if it is, it's gonna live in IMAX for a couple of months, and everybody's gonna watch it on their widescreen TVs for the rest of its existence. What were you thinking? And then, because we didn't have enough space taken up on the internet service, you made a black and white version of the most colorful characters in comic book history. Good call. A black and white version. That's what we needed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sure.
I mean, there comes a point where it's just like its art doesn't work anymore, and that's really where we are there.
It's a superhero movie with people in tights. I don't care about your art. It's a superhero movie.
Like, calm down. Again, calm down.
Yeah.
Although I gotta say, like, one of the things I did appreciate about Snyder Cut is that, every shot did not feature Gal Gadot's butt in some way.
Yep.
I mean, I remember sitting there in the theater, and there's that first sequence with the bowler hat gang, and there's like a number of upskirt shots. Oh, and my husband's Army, so we're not talking like the most aware of people. And at one point, he looks over at me and he's like,
"I know what you mean."
He's like, "I don't need to know what color Wonder Woman's bloomers are. Like, I just don't need to know." And it's really not necessary. No. And, going back to
one of those shots, not even one. I get why you're doing it, but stop doing it. There's no, and
going back to what we talked about.
This is coming from a guy who,
going back to what we talked about way at the beginning. I am bringing us full circle, sir. Pay attention.
Yes.
Joss Whedon managed to make a movie more misogynistic than the one made by the man who made Sucker Punch.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yes.
Like, what?
How did you manage that? Congratulations.
I feel like that's a gold star you don't actually want to have, but man, you won. You won. So, like, all these people who were shocked to hear that Joss is apparently a dumpster fire of a human being, I'm just sitting here like, did you not go see Justice League?
Right. Yeah.
Because I was there.
It happened to me. It happened to me.
Yeah. I'm still in therapy about it. Like, it's fine. It's fine.
It happened at me. Yeah. It was pretty rough. I don't know. I can't. I want to love them so much because I'm a DC person. I grew up DC. Like, and then nothing against Marvel, like even back in the day, but DC was my jam. I was a superpowers person. I was a super friends person. Had all the DC
Teen
stuff.
Titans, which is like,
I grew up on Superman and Batman. Those are the comics I had. Those are the toys I had. I didn't have a lot of the Marvel stuff. Like, they had the Marvel Secret Wars characters and figures. My friend had those. I had all the superpower ones where they had those stupid action, things like that. I had the Hall of Justice. I had all of that stuff.
I had all of that amazing, like, I grew up with all of that amazing Kevin Conroy animation, those great Batman sequences. And even to this day, even to now, their animated catalog is amazing.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new one. I got to watch the new one.
You do.
The one based on the game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Their animated catalog is fantastic. They have, like, the people doing the animated catalog are like, I know what this is.
Some misses. They've had a couple of misses, but again, like we said with Marvel, Dark World, there's always going to be a couple of misses. You can't. There's just no way. You can't do as much as you do without having a couple that just don't hit the mark. Killing Joke did not hit the mark.
But that was always going to be a very, very hard sequence to do.
I agree.
I mean, I don't care what you say.
Short novel. It's a short book, and you got to.
But it's hard, though. Like, I mean, because you've got to have enough. First off, Killing Joke works if you have enough buy-in with Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
One. Secondly,
but what do they do to her?
I mean, rape, torture, and then paralyzed her.
Yeah, but she's also like having relations with Batman. Like, that whole sequence was not in the book. First of all,
no, it's not, and that's gross. That was
exactly. It was like having sex with his niece or his daughter. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's just like you think the niece, right? Because it's like his best friend's daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I didn't
want to remember that, Marco. Why did you bring that down?
Right, it's in there now. It's in there. You can't take it out. So it's. So it's there.
And again, that's one of the things that makes the Killing Joke work. It's not the romantic connection. Joker is destroying his niece, his daughter figure.
Yeah.
That's and Batman is failing as a father. It's bringing up all of that residual trauma from his own situation with his parents.
Yep.
Like, that's what's so terrifying about the Killing Joke.
That's what's powerful about that book. So to
make it about a romantic relationship profoundly misunderstands why that story works. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Alan Moore.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my point. Like, you have these wonderful, and I agree. I love the DC animated stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Under the Red Hood is phenomenal.
Oh, fantastic!
Under the Red Hood is great, and I'm just looking at Jensen.
The cheesy stuff like Public Enemies. Like, I love Public Enemies. I'll watch that over and over again. Like, I've read that story arc so many times. I used to draw that story arc. I used to love drawing that. I have drawings of it that I did before. Yeah, I love that one. It's not the deepest, but it's fun. But they honored the story. Again, they honored the story.
We spent a whole 15 minutes talking about John Carter of Mars. Like, fun is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm really tired, actually, just to segue again. I am really tired of somehow just being fun, not being enough.
Right.
Not everything has to say something. I mean, you don't have to hammer in something that's not there. Like, it's fine if it's not, if it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have enough of that in our lives.
Yeah. Everything has a message. Why does everything need to have a message?
If it has a message and the message makes sense in context, pieces. Right. But if you were trying to squeeze in a very special episode moment, again, you need to reevaluate your life choices, because you were trying to weld something into the story fabric that's just not there. It doesn't have to be.
Right. Sometimes it could just be a fun story to entertain. Just to entertain. That's all. We have plenty of stuff. If I need a message or a story, there's plenty of stuff to go see.
But so once in a while, we
need that. We need that. We need just a step away from a message, just to be entertained.
Yeah, and I think since Gladiator, are you entertained? Like, I think since Gladiator, we've been kind of like poo-pooing on it just being fun, and especially coming off of coming off of 2020, 2021.
We need more pure entertainment now than anything.
Fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? It's okay. Well, plenty of us have to have stories and messages, and I know I'll have them, but once in a while, it's okay. Just be like, that was entertaining. I don't have a story shoved down my throat. I don't have to go thinking about anything. I don't have to feel bad about my life choices because I have to go think of things I've done in my life that, that made me bring up.
I already make enough grief about my own life choices. I went to law school, people. I have a lot to
family. I talked about my family already. Talk about them more.
But I mean, so one of the things that we just did on Trucker's Delight is we did a whole series on Our Man Bashir, which is this random episode in the middle of Deep Space Nine where Dr. Bashir decides he's 007, and the entire episode just takes it up to 11. They build these incredible James Bond style sets, with the rotating walls and the screens that pop out of nowhere. I mean, it's fantastic. The takeaway from that story is it's fun. Are there conversations that are significant? Blah 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 blah. Sure, but really, we're watching it for the the ridiculousness of it all.
Yeah. Isn't that
wonderful? I think that's just not celebrated enough.
No, it's definitely not. Everything's got to be artsy and fartsy and messagey and shove it down your throat.
That's why we get a black and white Snyder cut.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Nobody needed that. And
with 150% more obnoxious children's chorus.
Yes.
I don't like that. I didn't like the creepy song in the beginning. I'm not gonna like the creepy choruses. I didn't even like that in the original Ghost in the Shell. People, you're not gonna get me with it.
No, I agree. There's so much put out there to be put out there, and sometimes it just feels like nobody's controlling it. Nobody's pulling the reins back, going, no, you're not gonna do that.
Yeah,
that's not okay.
And that's the thing. There's a very different situation between George Lucas' wife and then George Lucas without his first wife, because she took his scripts and reined him in.
Right. Yeah, this is okay.
And they were and they were all better for it.
Yeah.
All better for it. We just have to have somebody to this is really Feige's contribution to geekdom, to media, is having somebody to rein them in.
Yeah, I got a story I'll tell you offline. It's very similar to that.
But yeah, dude, we have been on for 2 hours and 11 minutes. I feel like we need to wrap it up.
We probably should. So at the end of the day, Demolition Man knew what it was about, and it got there. It got us there. He knew what it wanted to tell us.
Absolutely. Also gave us naked Stallone, so...
It did give us naked butt Stallone. Yeah. Let's talk about that briefly. Because that was the Empire Strikes Back.
Why?
That was an Empire Strikes Back carbonite freezing moment. He goes in one position and is frozen in a very different position.
But yet, always, the magic positions always make sure that the jewels are hidden. Everything. Yeah. Even if that doesn't make sense as far as how you would actually land.
Yes.
It's just this is the no. But also, I don't understand why he had to be naked for that. I really don't.
I mean, I guess
does it ever? Do we get an explanation?
I think it's just more the cryo freezing must do something to non-organic. Clothing, maybe it makes it burn or adhere to your skin and basically hurt the person or damage the skin. That'd be my only guess.
So wear cotton, motherfucker.
That's true. Just wear a little cotton, little cocktail outfit.
Fruit of the Loom, people.
Yeah, just get him some MeUndies and he'll be fine. He's good to go. So
yeah, I mean, it's just so it's yeah, and also, but we don't get that with Simon Phoenix either, though.
No, we don't see the naked Simon Phoenix ever. We never see him frozen. We just see him. Yeah, he just gets arrested, and the next time we see him, he's in the chair where he gets out because he knows the teddy bear will passcode. And why is there a passcode? Why is there a verbal passcode? Why isn't there just a button or a key or something on?
No. This is just to indicate to us that something is up with Simon Phoenix. That's what that is.
No, I get it. I get the concept of why they did it. Because, like, okay, look, he knows things. How does he know how to get
He
out of
drinks and
things,
he
right?
knows things.
Yeah, he knows stuff about the future. Like, okay, so somehow he's information he shouldn't have, right? He's been in an ice cube for the last, whatever it is, 30 years. He shouldn't know this information, but somehow he has. So now we have to go along the ride to find out how he got this information. I get that. But technology-wise, it doesn't make any sense. The cuffs have a passcode. You have to say it. They're going to hear you at some point. Someone's going to hear you say that.
And it's clearly not even voice printed, right? Like,
No, it's not voice printed. We have that. My Alexa knows I'm talking to it because it understands my voice.
Please don't wake her up.
No kidding. She'll start going off, going, I can't do that right now. I know. Billions of dollars technology, the thing can't understand anything I say. It ignores me constantly.
No, like seriously, she judges me for being Southern, and it's really obnoxious. I'm like, my accent's not that hard, not that thick, people. Like, it's not.
It's not.
And yet she's like, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Or I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding. Maybe you should work with your voice profile.
So we have one in the bedroom, the living room, and the baby's room.
Mm-hmm.
And I have one.
You will regret that, by the way.
I'm sure.
Let me tell you, because they have discovered how to use it.
Yeah.
And we use the timer feature frequently for their timeouts. And then all of a sudden I hear this little voice go, Alexa, stop timer.
Yeah, we have one in the bedroom, and he likes to keep like unplugging it and plugging it in. So we just hide it. It goes to sleep. We goes to sleepy time, so we unplug it and hide it somewhere. We'll definitely do that during nap time.
We have one in my office. We have one in the den. We have one in the living room. We have one in the bedroom because I got tired of because I got tired of lights being on, and so like I have it programmed to do that massive command of shut the shit off.
Me too. Our lights, our Christmas tree, everything.
It's
awesome. I bought the one for I thought a third one because I got one for the school. I'm like, I got one from Staples. I'm like, where should we put this? So my wife goes, how about back at Staples? How about the returns bin? Staples. Good call.
Like the cuffs thing is ridiculous. Like it just does not. Yeah. That does not
make any sense. I know. Every once in a while, there's a little thing like that just I don't get.
Also, can we talk about the ray gun? Speaking of things,
the one that takes forever to charge.
Yes, it's the Tholian web of guns, and I'm like, this is not even an effective
useless weapon that would have been.
Right. It's like the ray gun equivalent of a musket.
Wait. Stop moving.
No, really.
Wait. Just wait.
Dude, it's a 30%, man. 30%.
Yeah. Great. It's the Green Lantern ring of guns. Hold on, I gotta charge this bitch. I gotta charge it. That's bad. Yeah, I agree. So, but overall, it was fun to rewatch this movie.
And you're right, it holds up super well. Like it really so much better than a number of those films.
I mean, the one-liners, whatever, but like the comedy, I think still works. Still listening to them, like listening to the the tunes, the jingles, like that's their music.
I still sing the Jolly Green Giant.
Sure,
I still sing it.
Yeah,
down in the valley.
It still works. It still works now. After everything we've gotten since then, I still love listening to them. They're so joyous when they're listening to the little jingles. There's smiles on their face. He's just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Like Sandra Bullock has that great smile, and then like the little bob she's got rocking starts bouncing. It's just like,
she got almost a Stevie Wonder bob.
Yes.
The figure eight head. The figure eight head.
My god.
He's just like, put me back on ice. I'm done.
Yeah, he's like, I don't. Mama.
He's got the hole in his shirt. He's like, don't worry about it. I can fix that with a needle and thread. He's like, I can't believe I just said that.
Right. Oh my god. And like all the knitting.
Yes.
And it is very obvious that Stallone has no idea what he's doing.
Yes.
No.
Yes. That was classic. So it was good.
Which makes it even better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It just, there's so many little pieces. I love the car at the end. They jump out the end with the car. They jump through. You know what I mean? They get the Charger, the Challenger. I can't remember which one it was. That takes out. That goes through the town. They forget about the cannoli car. That made no sense. Magneto says it's a crash vehicle. The whole thing's just suffocating inside a cannoli. Thank God the door was off. What if that door was still on? How the fuck would you get out?
Oh my God, I loved her apartment too, by the way. Like, I was just like, what? I mean, because John Spartan's response is everyone's response to that apartment.
Yes.
And yet I find myself walking in and looking at all my Star Trek things, and I'm like, maybe that's not far off.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. I'm rounding in on 400 pops. Like,
I was about to say, like, I can see your problem behind you.
Yes, all over the place. I actually finally broke down and got my own storage facility, like storage closet. Like, we have a storage, unit that we have for like all of our Christmas stuff, and we have like a dining room table and chairs that were my wife's grandmother's or something like that. We have, like, a bunch of stuff, like some of the old baby clothes and things like that. And I had some of my pops in there, some bins of pops in there. Like, when we buy a house, I'll have my man cave and I'll put them up. I'm like, they take up a lot of space in there. I think I need my own. So I got a smaller storage closet just for, she's like, son of a bitch, I knew that was going to happen.
I mean, I am lucky because, like, in my household, the man cave is almost exclusively Warhammer figures, so like they're very small.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, we are so far past 400.
No,
so far.
Nice. The pop figures aren't bad. They're not that big until I keep them all in the boxes. Like, I don't take them out of the boxes. I have a couple that were out of the box. They're over here.
Oh my God, there's a Dexter's Lab episode on that. NRFB.
You don't take them out of the box. I had a couple that I took out of the box before I started collecting them. Now all the rest are in boxes.
And yeah, mine are not in boxes. Like, I immediately opened Voltron and played with him. I was 38.
I want to. I like this. That's like the challenge I'm having with myself. Like, I want to take them out, but then I don't want to take them out.
So I'm walking in Target one day, right? Like, I'm shopping in Target, and I go down like the action figure aisle, and I'm looking really hard. And this is right after Black Panther dropped, and so I'm looking really hard at this amazing Nakia figure. And this person walks up, this older lady walks up behind me, and she's just like, "So, I mean, are you looking for? I mean, how old's your son?" And I'm like, "What? What? Oh, no. Because, like, my grandsons really loved the Black Panther and the blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, 37. She just kind of blinks at me and just kind of starts to walk away.
Okay. Out of here. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, she legit shamed me out of buying that figure, and I'm still kicking myself for it. I'm still kicking myself.
Oh, that's sad. That hurts my heart.
I know, right? Like, I know. But then again, I'm also not super sure where I would have stored her because she would have stayed in the box.
Yeah.
So I am also running out of space.
I know, it's really easy to run out of space.
Yeah.
Especially when you have the boxes. Like, damn it. They look so good in the boxes, though. They look great out of the boxes. They look so cute in the boxes. I don't know why. It's not even a value thing.
Lego Voltron. I don't know if you saw this, but I have the Lego Voltron, and my husband keeps looking at me. He's like, "Are you going to take it apart and like show the lions?" I'm like, "No.
This is the way it goes. This is
the way it goes. I'm about to Will Ferrell superglue this bitch."
Yeah, because it's not about the value. Like, so many, if someday for whatever reason, if, like, God forbid, I have to actually sell the collection, I could. But
you're not. You're not.
I'm not planning to anytime soon. That's for sure. It's not about like, oh, let me buy this one because it's going to be worth more money. I don't care. I have the entire Office collection.
And you're literally like, no one is going to care.
No one's going to care. Nobody cares.
Like, my son is going to have to go through all of this shit when I die.
That's right. That's right. And we say that about my parents right now. We're going to go through all their shit.
Because I got to tell you, we are at the age where we're supposed to start the Swedish death cleaning.
Yeah. Not going to happen.
No.
Still collecting.
No.
Still collecting. No. Absolutely not.
I mean,
definitely not.
I mean, yeah, no. I'm looking around like, yeah.
My mom's in her late 60s, so she's still buying shit too. So no.
No, my mom is doing the same thing. Like, my mom is cleaning out Hallmark, and I can't really say anything because, like, Hallmark apparently woke up one day and was like, "Wait a minute, nerds are the only people that have money now, so let's do all the things."
Yes, that's right. That's my mom. It's home goods. She loves her home goods. She buys one more effing basket. She doesn't have a basket. She has a collection of baskets in the garage. What are you doing with it? Are you feeding bread to the entire world? Mother Teresa? What is happening with all these baskets? She's obsessed with baskets.
I'm sorry, lady. You were in fact are not building a pyramid. Like you do not have to use
Right.
a basket to haul off the dirt.
It's not these baskets. My father's like, what is with these baskets? I don't understand. I don't get with these baskets. If the purpose of them, like she has one or two for bread during dinner, and that's it. The rest are just
My husband. My husband gives me flack because I have a whole collection of like the Sterilite tubs. But I tell you this, they have been a lifesaver because I actually sort the Munchkin toys according to like what they are, and and I put them up, and they have to ask me per box, and so he's come around because
they have a purpose.
They have a purpose, and I tell you, this has been a lifesaver because it means I can keep, and we can keep basically the chaos down. I'm not going to say to a minimum because that's just not a realistic goal.
Yeah.
It's just not, but at least to a manageable level.
Right. Yeah.
And it was very funny.
We haven't not even close to hitting that yet. Like we have a toy box and like a large long ottoman that his toys are in, and they're pretty well.
I am telling you, this right here will save you like bins and stuff because people are going to start giving you crap, and you're going to be like, "But what do I do? I don't need another set of magnetiles." And then the Munchkin will see it, and you do need that other set of magnetiles.
He's got a giant set of wooden blocks that could kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like one block, if he throws it at you, you're done. It's not those little plastic blocks, a little light wooden. This is like old school wooden blocks. Like,
yeah, we have those. We have those.
Make that, is that a solid cherry or something? What are these things?
Like this is heavy. Like what?
This is really heavy. It's gonna hurt somebody. But now he's gotten into his those little stackable rings. It's a little monkey on the top with the different size rings. But now he wears them like Shang-Chi. So I have a picture of him where he's wearing it's Christian in his 5 rings. And the other day he would not let my wife take them off. She had to change them. She had to bathe them. He freaked anytime she went to take one off. She had to just to change them. She wanted to transfer one, something to the other arm. He's losing his mind.
We go through World War III. We go through World War III over Spider-Man pajamas every morning. Every morning. And it's just like, okay, guys, like you have to wear real clothes to go to school because I am not going to have child services knocking on my door. I don't have time for that. It's a bad scene. It's not good. We're not going to do it.
We're not having it.
You need to put on pants, my man. I understand. And I'm having this argument with a child, and like my husband will come up and be like, you haven't worn anything other than yoga pants since 2019. And I'm like, shut up. Nobody ever sees me. It's fine. Right.
They don't need to know that. They don't need that reality. Stop it.
It's fine. Like even at work, it's all like this because welcome to Zoom.
But you look at him and you're like, whose side are you on? Listen, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
I mean, and considering how often he would wake up the twins, yes, he's part of the problem.
There you go. See? That's it. No more contact for you. Oh, all right. It's been 2.5 hours.
I know. I can't believe it. Like, I keep looking at this sticker going by, like, holy crap. This has been super fun, Marco. Thank you so much for inviting me to play in your sandbox. I am very, very glad that I met you.
We're going to do this again. This
absolutely. We have to do Hudson Hawk, or like, I mean, we should probably do a series on terrible 90s movies, actually.
That would be fun. That would be fun. We're actually we have something coming up on the 5th. I keep getting this wrong. Is it the 6th or the 5th? The 6th. We're doing our long day of podcasting. So what we do is once a month. Mm-hmm. Instead of having to do like a couple of days, like every weekend, doing a few, I do like a review episode on the weekend, takes half hour. And then I do like a one day, we like bang out like 5 or 6 episodes just to have some of the bang. So on the 6th, if you're around, you're welcome. I can do the same thing. We have people in the studio, in the dojo, and then we do this. We're going to do Spaceballs.
Oh, yeah.
Spaceballs. We're going to go over the Highlander series, movie and TV show, which I loved.
Adrian Paul, baby.
Yeah, I met him. Really nice guy. I did one of his sword experiences in Boston. It was really fun.
And also, let's briefly talk about like just how Christopher Lambert has frequently come out and said, "I have no idea how we lived through that because it was not a safe set at all."
No, not at all, not at all. So we're doing Eternals and we're doing the Venom movies.
I haven't seen Eternals, sadly.
But if you want in on any of them, Let me know.
I mean, I'm your girl from Highlander. Like I was like, other people, like I was never one of those My Little Pony girls. Like I was the one that was like Highlander and the katana. Like, I mean, even though that doesn't make sense at all.
It's all right. It's all right. All right. I'll hit you up for that when I get closer and just let you know what we're doing. So if you're free, if you're not doing anything and you want to jump on, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, no, I think during the day I'm fine. I've got like a dinner I've got to go to, but that's about it.
It's gonna be like I think we have like a workshop till 12, and then we're just gonna start like around 12:30.
Yeah, which is like 10:30 in the morning for me.
Yeah, so. Cool. All right, awesome. Then I'll do that. I'll hit you up for that. Awesome. Thank you so much. Tell everybody where they can find you again. Fun. Yeah, tell everybody where they can find you again.
Trucker's Delight, and which is everywhere you find your podcasts, and also Game Industry News.
Awesome, and I'll put it in the description of on the episode as well, and on the social media when I finally get to post it. Cool.
Somebody's gonna be like, "You really expect us to listen to 2.5 hours?" Maybe.
I think I went 3 with Raphael Moran from the Geeky Dad. I went a little over 3.
Ooh, he must be fun.
He was hysterical. It was a lot of fun. That was on his show too. We did a lot with his as well. But like with mine, we did the Karate Kid stuff. But again, same thing. We talked like half hour or so about Karate Kid, and the rest of 3 hours about everything else. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
All right, my man. You gotta click the end button. I
gotta do it eventually. Have a great night. Thank you. Thank you again for everybody for listening. I want to thank Marie again for joining us today on the Entertainment Rants podcast. Again, you can find her at the Trekker's Delight podcast. You can find us online at entertainmentrants.com. Our social media is Entertainment Rants, and on Twitter, Entertain Rants. Please feel free to drop us a line at engage@entertainmentrants.com, or if you have time, write us a short review on Apple Podcasts. We'd really appreciate it. I want to thank everybody for listening, making it through this extra long episode, and have a great night, everybody, and keep on ranting. Go.